at it, it's teams like Dots, Train to Go, you know, even Team Skyline, like teams that kind of I felt were going through their proper scrims like every night of the week, depending on which lobby they were in when I started casting. And this was a big opportunity for them to get into PAS at the end of the year, and they just fell at the final hurdle. But you can't really argue, Cammy, can you? Looking at the teams on that left side of the leaderboard.
No, yeah, I'm trying to look to see, like, yeah, you know, there are some names that might have just barely missed out from North America, but on the left side, you know, there are a couple of names that I'm not super familiar with, but even teams like Four Dogs, sure, there are a couple of players that I'm not familiar with, but they have Lucid Freak. He's been in the scene for a while. Like, there's always at least someone on a bunch of these teams to really bring them through, and more so than that, it really just shows that in PUBG, like any esport, you can never guarantee that you're going to stay at the certain level. And that's the case for teams, whether they're favorites from 2024 failing to qualify to a global event in 2025 versus even now, usually a team that you would consider a lock-in for at bare minimum groups in PAS failed to reach that. Everything is a struggle, which is why these events, when they happen so few times a year, it's so important to be able to deliver at the one weekend that it matters most.
I can tell that you've moved to Chicago in the Midwest because you knowed that answer, which was awesome. South American qualifiers. If you guys are from America and you're familiar with the way the Midwest goes, that was dead on, Cameron. SA qualifier, top 8 teams coming out of there looking pretty good. Now, here's one that I want to just throw up. We'll talk about it right away. Up there on the top, you told me earlier when we were coming to the show that you wanted to talk about Mira because you think they're going to surprise some people. Is that correct, Gibson?
Yeah, the surprise package for me, 100%. Like, this is a team that they do have a couple of players that some people will recognize, but most people who look at that team, if they know them at all, are going to know them from the third-person circuit, where they were dominant all year round. You know, if they weren't winning events, they were still getting to every single final.
Right.
I think that they
My camera is so bad right now.
Called Kawazine, who turned 18 and got
That's
the
so
opportunity
bad.
to move to Furia. You know, nobody is going to stop the kid from going there when an opportunity like that kind of opens itself up. But I still think with the change that they've made, they've still got a really good chance. Now, by surprise package, I don't mean they're going to qualify 100%. But if you go into Sunday and they're in the running, like they have a chance, don't be surprised because this is a very talented, very young, and very hungry team.
Okay.
Cameron,
I don't think this is going to change anything, but...
Yeah, wait a second. So I'm a big Team Mira fan as well, right? Anyone that watches as much of the Cups and the Players Tour as Gibson and I have, you love Team Mira because they're just so like a constant threat in that position. But Gibson, do not forget about the fact that every single time at the most recent Masters, both of them, 2 and 3, that Mira were like in first place, in second place. They fell off on the last day. So I don't... I think the surprise will be, is this the event that Mira can show up and maintain their position at the top? And this one's a longer event than any of the Masters, so I think it's going to be even greater of a challenge. Well, hopefully the experience can lead it that way. But my eyes are on Mira for the continued growth, but emphasis on continued because it needs to continue.
Needs to continue. Okay, that's fair. I will say this. For a team's name, their name translates into aiming or targeting, right? So, like, they have been aiming for an entire year now. I think that they need to have the close, right? So I get where you're coming from with this could be our secret shocker team, but also if you're at home watching, you're like, it's not a secret. These guys have been doing really well. Yes, they have. But have they done well, as Cameron brings up, in those end scenarios, in those final days when it matters, right? Another team that does that, as much as I hate to say it, because I love them, Gibson, has been Rock Esports as well. When you go back to EWC as well as PGS, those last days are tough for them. Is that a regional consistency that you're seeing, or is that just teams that are newer feeling a little more stress?
I'm going to say it's the newer side of things. Like teams have never been in that position before. Like they're not used to being out in front, and when they're looking over their shoulder and they're seeing Falcons, you know, they're seeing, I'm going to say, we'll talk about them later, but Team MRIA, they're teams that know how to hunt someone down, and I think that added pressure to them. But you look at Rock now, like, we all saw Rock's performance at the first PGS this year. They weren't great at all, but they had a week, you know, that week off, and then they went to the next PGS. They were winning maps. They got into the final lobby. They go to EWC, and they looked like they could win the whole thing through the group stages. Like, the more these teams play, the more comfortable they're going to get, the more that pressure of leading kind of dissipates.
All right, let's pivot back to the guys who are on screen. That's on me. I didn't realize that we were sticking on Sakura, which deserves it. It is a very strong roster. When we talk about the top teams coming out of North America versus South America, that's what you're seeing in our head-to-head was our top killers there. The last one was the top two teams and how they performed. Sakura Zensen is a very interesting lineup to me, Cameron.
Right.
Washed up is not the phrase that I was looking for when I started.
Wow. Wow.
But here's the thing. They dominated the open qualifiers, right? And so if you look, I tell you, Adam, who had a fishing stream as his primary recently, Pentalol, who has had a hard grind. I love this player. I love his dad. I love the support that he has. He has been grinding to try to find his place since he left what is now called Liquid. Micah and Hyman are both teams that are players that have kind of been shopped around. They haven't quite broken in yet. And I don't know. It feels like is this a last chance run? Is this a team like Dots, Cameron, who just loves playing together or coming back for a good time? What's your take on this lineup?
I mean, the lineup itself, to me, it just screams like, hey, there's another event in 6 months. Let's throw one together and see what happens. Because like Sakura Sensen, like, are they going to be playing in America's like X PAS, or are they going to go back to EU? Like they flip, if I'm not mistaken, they kind of flip flop back and forth between the two regions all the time, right? But having access to Pentalol and Adam, let's send it their experience. And I agree. I think Pentalol has not been the same player since he's been, even before he got picked up by the team that is now currently known as Liquid. But those points that we just saw on our screen do not lie. Delivered in the opens, can they translate that to the group stage?
Now, group stage, let's talk about our performances, what we're going to expect from folks, what they're going to walk away with. I guess Team Falcons. Who knows? What is the point of it? Can somebody translate this?
I think what we're saying is this is what their points tallies have been over the last few group stages. So PAS 3 over groups, they got 130. PAS 4, where they ended up in LCQs that time, and then 108. I think it's just showing you how they perform in the groups. I think this is the perfect description of how dangerous groups are, because when you play in a finals lobby, it is 16 teams with set drops where you can make a reasonable guess as to where everybody's going to go. But in groups, with some of these teams who haven't played in a long time, or some of these teams who are qualifying for the first time, there's just so much up in the air that Falcons are going to get caught out by people going like, why is he there? Why are you rotating so late? And it makes it a lot more difficult for the harder teams inside groups.
So the real question when I look at this graphic that I have to walk away with, Cameron, is do you think Tiggleton should grow a beard as a favor to the rest of the team? Like, it just feels like he doesn't fit in right now when I look at that photo.
Nah, man, come on. What do you? You gotta have something to make you stand out. Have you ever put a boy band together? Everyone has to have their unique perspective. Tiggleton's is beardless.
I did watch that Cat's Eye on Netflix and was blown away on how hard it is to put a pop team together. All right, let's talk about Bestia coming on the other side. This is a fascinating roster. I'm going to start with Cameron because I like Gibbs got to have the big break on the Falkies with a big roster change here in the Australian.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Flood coming back into a tier 1 team in the region took a little bit of a break. The whole, what are we going to call it? Oath United to Luminosity to blah, 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 Falcons. Okay. The previous roster was like, it's understandable that Flood would want to take a little bit of a break and sort of recenter themselves because they've been grinding out for a long time, but coming back, joining old teammate Mime now in Bestia. I think this is a very interesting move, but, and again, I think Gibson can back me up on this, seeing them perform in the most recent Masters as well as other of the PPT, I think this one actually has some legs. I was a bit curious about the reasoning behind it when I saw the move happen, but their previous performances, I think, give me a lot of hope. I don't think they're going to be a shoe-in for a top position, but I think that they are going to be able to deliver. And Mime specifically, I think, after taking over, I believe is still the IGL of this team, has found a way to perform both in like the comms, making the calls, but also on the field again. Mime has almost returned back to like old school. I'm going to be a complete nuisance and grief anyone and everyone in front of me, Mime.
And I will say, for those of you who are watching at home, we are on a slight delay. Some players, I won't say which teams, 2 of our teams did not get to lobby in time, so we're getting everyone in and getting it worked out. We'll start as soon as it's ready, I promise you.
3, 4, 5.
Interesting with the Flood ad. We're going to pull the Kickstart in a second, but what that roster change is fascinating to me is when what was previously the Falcons broke up post PGC, New Falcons became the New Falcons. They seemed like they were going to split 2 and 2. I thought Flood Mime was going to be a team that was going to be built around going forward. When they separated, I was surprised. This makes me feel like this might mean that Mime has Bestia's management's ear. They liked what he did earlier at PGS and sort of his ideas for running the team. And Flood is the first step to him trying to reconstruct something that he sees as a world championship contender. So I'm excited to see what Bestia does in their games this week, sort of with that honeymoon.
Interesting take on it.
Because Flood's coming back to Mime, so they can work together to sort of teach the rest of the team the system they want to work with. Let's talk about Kickstart, though. Gibson, 75 kills coming out of those group stages all combined. Kickstart has been dynamite on this roster.
I think just Kickstart in general in groups is a demon. Like, you think about the previous roster that he was on, whenever before he made the move, when they were on the old Falcons team.
Yeah, I mean, that was going all the way back to the AS3.
That roster, he joined it. I think it's brought a dynamic to the team that they were kind of missing, and it took him time. It did take him time to get his feet beneath him, but as of right now, Kick and Shrimzy as a pair are phenomenal together, and I think the stats kind of back that up as well. 75 kills over the course of groups. Don't be surprised if he gets up over 100 by the end of this weekend.
I mean, but to me, that speaks to the value of how important relationships and communication is in PUBG. Because I do think we have seen Kickstart go through a couple of rosters, not seem to be able to find his feet, maybe find the right person to work with. Shrimzy is him. We'll leave it at that. But also, Shrimzy is about...
Shrimzy is himsy. We're covered up Cammy's face. That's hilarious.
Shrimzy is the perfect person to put with anyone, right? His personality is open. He can play whatever role you assign to him. His ego is this big as far as I can tell. I put it in front of the cameras. You can see it's very small. He has a very tiny ego. And he's willing to sort of do what he needs to and sort of help, support, whatever it is. I also think he is down to just listen. And I think that's a big part of this team's lineup is they have found a way that they can sort of communicate as a group, that they're willing to sort of accept each other's interesting personality features. They accept each other for what they love and don't love. They love Tig walking around in his tiny little t-shirts at events. They love Kickstart being passionate. And I think that's really worked for their roster. I think Shrimzy and Kickstart, you're right, Gibson, have made this incredible duo that is an awful lot of fun to watch. Now, we're still waiting for our players to get us into the game. You saw the map rotation. We're starting with Miramar, moving to Erangel for the finish. Pretty much straightforward. Erangel has been a fascinating map lately. Cameron, you were actually on Twitter talking today about the last match of Erangel, I think, in EMEA, and how this has become a normalcy to see a Game 6 Erangel that is absolutely just what we would call like a non-game, right? Where you can't get mad if you lose it, but it seems like it's always happening on Game 6 these days.
These days, it's been like a year and a half. I've been on this conspiracy. I've been on this conspiracy for a while. I'm glad that I'm getting other people slowly to join my side. Erangel is like such a... Okay, I'm gonna be polite and say interesting map, which is weird because it's the first one. But I think that since we've experienced so many more and more maps over the years, starting with Miramar, going into we're gonna block that third one out, then to Rondo and Tego, is just that separate island. That separate island is so brutal, and it takes up so much of the map when you include all the water in it. And so I think it actually demands like very, very unique rotations that other maps don't, which I think
Cammy and his conspiracies.
But it does like to throw some curveballs. So we'll see if that happens again at like the final map of this qualifier, final map of LCQ, final map of the grand finals. Who's to say? It's going to happen at least once, though, with the amount of options, with the amount of opportunities that it has to throw one.
That's the feature that we need in the future. All of these fun little Jeopardies and guess the sound effect is cool, but we need a small segment called Cameron's Conspiracies, where we just put you on with a tinfoil hat to explain this month's conspiracy, which I think would be high content. We had Poro selling used cars. Why not Cameron's Conspiracies? All right, welcome to game number 1 as we head in
oh my
to the
God.
dusty dunes of Miramar for match.
Yeah.
To kick this off,
Cammy Conspiracy
12
would be hilarious.
To determine whether or not they make it to the top 8 and get their chance to go directly to the PAS6 Big Final. If you're just joining us, my name is Tavis. I got Cameron, I got Gibson, and we have a great plane path to start this off, Gibbs.
Yeah, it's pretty much through just south of the center of the map, going from that northeastern side down to the southwest, finishing in Valle del Mar. Every single team, based on what I can tell, except for Mira, have gotten to their primary drop spot, which will give
I'm gonna be
them a
curious
chance
to see how
going
Four
forward on this
Dogs
one.
and Collector
Well,
do.
we get that southern circle. And this,
Okay.
I love the circle because, Cammy, you'll agree with me. There are so many incredibly powerful positions that teams are going to want to get early in this one because of the shifts that the circle usually gives.
Yeah, there were some good spots. Absolutely. It's just, you got to be aware of the little island to the south. I like how we were just talking about Erangel and it having that. We'll see if it becomes a factor. I don't think so. The chances of us getting a drumstick ending, I think we've seen it like, what, maybe once?
Elkadzia swapping to a yellow logo, throwing me off.
I love that. It's one of those where it's like, we're gonna have an island
That's
ending.
a little
If
weird
we have
to
no
me.
island ending, I'll do the next segment without a shirt on. I shouldn't have said that. No, I won't, because I'll get fired.
No,
that's my point.
You've said it.
It doesn't
You've said it.
You said it.
But it doesn't happen,
Lock it in.
right?
Production, lock it in.
I think I
Did Ford?
You know what? I'm gonna go check and see if I have some just in case. I'm gonna turn it over to you guys to take us through the Dusty Dunes.
Do they
Cammy,
have
I don't know whether I want that
MRIA
finish or I need that finish.
Mariah instead of
Right now,
Mira?
based on what we've just been promised, but I think we'll talk about that a little bit more as this goes on. We're looking at Falcons.
Anyways, they were talking about
Always
Mira
all
earlier,
the
and
attention
Mira
in the
dominated
Americas
earlier
internationally.
this week
Always draws
during
itself towards
Smirzera
this
League
team,
as
and
well.
they've gone for
So like that's
Pagano, it's their player
another
spot. We saw them
situation
flirt with the
where
hilarious
Mira
earlier on,
is just
sorry,
a very,
second half
very
of last
good
year.
team.
Well, they've already sent Shrimsy out. Al-Qudsi to me, though, here by truck stop. This is a team that I think needs to start strong because I love these four players,
Yeah.
but they have flattered to deceive so many times this year.
Right. I mean, they're such a dynamic team. Like, Rello as the Rock, you got Roth, who's a wild card, you got Cowboy, and D, who are both, like, even more aggressive wild cards. This is a team that when they first formed, we all expected them to be able to be just, as Toffees would say, gangbusters, right? But it hasn't really delivered. They had some really, really good moments, but the consistency is what is lacking from them, I think. And so
We
can
believe in
see
them.
this be the event that they can figure it out and how to do it consistently and really get those points, get those kill points in the early to mid game, which is what they tend to favor when they do perform well, but without having all the games that they'll lose one or two players early on as well. That'll be fantastic. But MRIA X Luminosity just left the org. I don't remember what the initialism is, but they've been some of my most enjoyable teams.
Oh, okay, so it is
Like
MRIA.
that's going to be them. Vox, especially with the BRDM, almost like forming a meta around himself as a player because of that new tool that was introduced into PUBG earlier this year.
Well, I've been considering over the course of this weekend whether to call them MRIA or actually call them Mission Ready International Alliance every single time I see them on screen. Like, part of me wants to go the whole way, Beal, rocking that new mini that has had its fire rate drop significantly over the most recent patch, doing a lot of damage onto 4 Earth, but I think that the smoke will just about pop in enough time that he should be able to join Hazel, but I think that's a point we should talk about, Cammy, the new patch we're playing on.
Yeah, totally forgot to mention that this is finally the new patch with the big DMR nerfs, and so we'll see what the actual impact is. So far, we're seeing DMRs continue to be rocked. We're not going back to the double M4 meta that some people might have suggested, but the actual effectiveness we have yet to see. We don't have a kill in the lobby.
Honestly, some people have run
M16.
M16.
Bestia, unfortunately for them. So
we've seen that. We've seen a few more bolties than normal. But actually, the VSS has become like a gun that's been used. Because there's also been the buff to SMGs, so then you have MP5s and stuff being used.
For the rest of Yahoo to get in a position that they can feed the information and take advantage. There's only 2 members here for Collector, so there's a chance that they could really do some damage. Hazel's going to eat some more 5.56.
Yahoo!
Continues to tag that damage on, but as we look at the map, Cammy, and the map is available for all the viewers at home as well, !map in chat. The rest of the team is a little bit further away. They want for Earth and Hazel to get out of here and join them.
Oh yeah, really good approach come by the rest of Yahoo. Belfrost still just been fighting Overwatch the whole time, but I think the vehicle is going to be able to make its way out. Punich with a final run to find the angle. I think with the number of hits. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. It being flipped is not good.
Oh, the rest of the
cover,
team.
Though.
Oh, there's what you need. A good covering fire, but The question is, Cammy, they're still out in the open. They need to get out of dodge. The only thing I think is a problem for Yahoo is finding an angle that they can take these shots at where they're
Cherry
not going to come
finds
under
it.
fire. Now, Cherry will get that knock onto Hazel. For Earth's going to brush back to get the res. But for Collector, they need to do something, and they need to do something now if they want to get these two teammates out of this spot.
Right. The problem is, though, this is the center of the map. At some point, another team has to be suspicious. And even for Yahoo, even though they have the advantage in this fight, they're even taking a vehicle to go on a rotate to find an angle to get those 2 points, which are the freest 2 points you could ever come across in a game of PUBG. At what point does another squad find an angle onto you? I think we see, what is that? Who's that rotating just to the north? I think Falcons aren't too far away. Cherry Vibes.
I mean, knowing that this is Collector, I would do the same thing that Yahoo is doing right now, yeah.
And the Yahoo fans, well, they're saying stop the counts. They're top of the leaderboard as things stand right now, and they will hope things stay.
There we go.
Those 2 points were
Easy peasy for him.
And it all came down to, yes, Beal put in a lot of good work early on by pinning them and forcing their retreat.
Collector and Four Dogs, I feel like are kind of going to be that way. Like, maybe 2 teams that we weren't fully expecting to make it all the way up here. Collector waiting all the way until the very last match to make it in.
And that's Fantastico from Rock Esports. Finding their footing, potentially dangerous. Another, do we call them a dark horse? Potential threat. I think that's a good term.
They are potentially dangerous.
Where potentially dangerous are in the...
I think that's...
pyramid of predators is the circle of life.
That's what you go with. They are potentially dangerous.
Predator and all that I'm just not smart enough to know the term.
Yeah, I think they're one of the teams that I think have that issue of a massive discrepancy between how high the ceiling is and how low the floor is. Like, there's a huge gap. You and I have seen this team have... Like, do you remember a couple of events back? They were phenomenal on the last day, but it was too late to have any real impact on the lobby.
Right.
So they've got the potential in their name, but the question is, can they do it over 12, 18 maps? And I just don't know. I want to be surprised, Cammy. That's the way I want them to find that consistency.
Yeah, speaking of team rotating over Yahoo, Gooners are able to even get a knock from that high ground position. But now Rock have the high ground position over... Who's high grounding the high grounders? Gibson, tell me.
Honestly, everybody wants to get as high as you can possibly get. Rock, though, we spoke a little bit about them. They've obviously brought in a new coach, if I'm not wrong. Has Silzen joined the staff as the coach for this event, or am I completely mixing up my announcements? But this team, at the start of the year, were my dark horses. I have been a fan of Santa and BL for a long time. They got over the line, and they just keep getting better and better. And the thing that... Who's drawing on the map, by the way?
Toffees.
Yes, as everything about this team gets better, I think it's just confidence. Like, Cammy, they're taking more ground than they used to do. They're playing more front-footed than they used to do. Like, I have never seen a team glow up as much based on qualifying for one international event.
Right, I want to see if I'm going to get this right. I think a large part of that, though, is, as you said, the experience. Not just from one international event, though, right? As we see Joshy get a knock onto Vinny. But, like, RBN leading of Rocky Sports, that wasn't his first international. He was originally on Legacy, right? And you could tell after every single day of some of the global events that they attended, he was constantly beating himself up over it to the point of... like feeling bad for the guy and like, buddy, like you're not the one you're not the only one in the game actually shooting heads, right? You're making the calls, but so it's really good to see the development of RBN and into the team like this with that roster change at the beginning of the year. But let's talk about this circle though. Hardship Southwest, Toffees, I think you might want to get those tassels ready because this is looking a bit more like a drumstick finish.
I'm just thinking about that clip. So you're saying there's a chance as things stand right now.
You're saying there's a chance.
Not Eddie Murphy. I don't know why I keep saying Eddie Murphy. Jim Carrey is the person I wanted to get in my head. But would you too? Have you seen a player move teams as many times in 1 year in your life as Enzito? Because he was on Bestia for a while, if I'm not wrong. He was on Toyo. He's on Wuju 2 now. Like, do you think Wuju 2 is the team that maybe we'll see the best of Enzito on?
Hard to say. 2 is... It'll be interesting to see what they deliver here, though, because of all the changes, a couple of different moves going around. I'm just trying to follow what's even going on in this game. So far, no one's gone. I think one team, Bestia, has gone to the island now, but everyone's flooding the south side. TM are getting surrounded. Now, Castin, though, this is where they should be thriving. They are the kings of rotation camps. D gets a double knock. Roth does go down to T-Sock, who at least is there to get the confirm.
Yeah, the rest of Gunners now. Matt is closing up, and Gunners and Al-Qudsi is a storyline that's been running all year round. 3 players left up against the 2 members. Now, Bunt will get flushed out, and Kane from Yin Yang, who just about snuck in through those South American qualifiers, is third party and getting that knock onto Matt out in the open, leaving T-Sock as the last player standing. Now, I'm looking at this. There is a chance that if Al-Qudsi are quick, they can get that blue chip up. They can get into Valle del Mar, potentially get their fearless leader Roth back inside the game. But I think for Al-Qudsi, getting a point early on against a team like Gunners who've given you trouble all year round is going to feel good.
Yeah. DM now. Still a bit spread. Only Danny's inside the actual building. There's a knock on to potentially dangerous. More grenades go out to try and finish that. Some damage. Stun comes through, though. It's not going to be in the top floor to try and push Danny out, but Danny does fall away regardless. Zello, you can see, is there for support, for backup. But the smoke is going to allow the approach of the rest of potentially dangerous if they were to push up. And there's been arrivals from other members of DM as well. The spray goes out. Glock is somehow able to survive.
Yeah, now Gabri's going to get caught out. He tried to hit him with a Panzer, but PD will be the first team to fall as Deportivo Merlo will get their first 2 points of the weekend on the board as well, and that will keep their split. Over here, I'm going to say by the zip line that they're definitely not going to use if the circle shifts south in a little while, but you've still got Al-Qudsi. They're battling with the Gunners as things stand. Mira with a 2-2 splitter, keeping a keen eye on what's going on. I think Toffees can put the tassels away now for just a little while. But with that shift, Cammy, just look how many teams are on the northern side of that circle.
Yeah, the problem is you can see the space to the left of DM between DM and Al-Qudsi. There's almost nothing to play there. I mean, you can tell because no one's there. And so it's going to be a fight for the edge. And when you consider the water on the island and that it's not going to go to the south anymore, it's so limited where is actually playable. I think we're going to get a couple of fights and a couple of team eliminations out in the blue. But T-Sock, Gunners pulling out the C4. Not going to go through with it just yet. But as a solo player and on a team like the Gunners, a C4 play is exactly what you would expect from T-Sock in this situation.
Yeah, he's got is that the mutant in his hands as well, if I'm not wrong? And that thing on the, get it on the burst spray. If you hit heads, it will obliterate those helmets of Al-Qudsi. But Al-Qudsi stacked up as a 3 should be okay in a situation like this. Like, you can send one player out, and if they get knocked, you play the trade game. The problem is, I think with Furia backfilling just to their north, it has suddenly gotten rid of some of the freedom that Al-Qudsi could maybe have played with here.
Cowboy's gonna go for the run though. You want to take that lone player out before it gets even more complicated than it is right now. They're expecting T-Sock to be in the building though. They're not even looking! Not even looking! T-Sock's able to get a double! Sets him to the 1 versus 1, going for the full confirm, has to reload, but D is healing on up. T-Sock could be single-handedly ruining Al-Qudsi's entire game. D swings out, not able to get the full trade, locked into a 1 versus 1, all because they did not check their corner.
Oh my god, T-Sock is just saying thank you so much as that mutant was phenomenal in that situation. A couple of quick taps. 2 members of Al-Qudsi have fallen. Like we said, these 2 teams just cannot help but to bump into each other, to stumble into each other, to ruin each other's chances of qualifying for international events. Now, 3 points for Gunners secured. Al-Qudsi with just the 1. But if you're T-Sock, momentum's on your side. You can get so aggressive here now.
Go for the C4 play. Just for the clip ability alone. T-Sock's holding the angle. It's a micro Uzi on the opposite side, but don't take that weapon lightly, especially not in this range. But D's making sure not to fully swing around that side, expecting where T-Sock's going to be. Pulls into the blue zone grenade, and then the swing around. The timing did not favor T-Sock. D is able to save the day, or at least save this moment. But what more can they do as a solo in such a premier position? But we're going to swing over to pest control as they toss grenades all over No Way.
And DNL is just prone using the ridgeline. The blue zone is going to force Blissey up, and Blissey with the FAMAS will find the knock on the DNL. Lopez hops in the car for No Way, tries to flee, but Seifu, a welcome face back inside of North American PUBG, is good to be seen as he will third party the action. Wuju 2 spreading out from this position as the circle goes north exactly as where you would expect it to go. Lopez does get knocked, and Collector, they're dealt with, as well as Kickstart will pick up Dreams, and Falcons get their second kill of the game.
Under 13 teams, and we did see the shift go as we all expected, back to the mainland fully 100%. Bestia were able to cross, and they're in a good position, but Falcons coming in from the edge. As you said, they have 2 kills right now. Tickleton should be getting revived, and Shrimzy is slowly creeping forward. Kickstart not too far behind. They're making sure they don't get swung on from the blue, but they need to crest this hill and take care of Wuju 2.
Yeah, and Zito. Wuju 2 and Falcons, actually. That was a gunfight that happened at a PAS so many times a while ago as well. Way back when Seifu was back on the roster. Lucid taking up over the right. Of course, they didn't go by the Wuju 2 banner back then. I'm trying to remember what the roster or the org name was at that point in time. But Lucid got H1 in his sights with the Dragonov, which I think will increase in popularity. The 7.62 DMR still hit pretty hard, and I think that the Mini's probably the gun that suffers the most with that recent change in the new patch. But let's see if Lucid can hit these all-important shots, because the longer this goes on, Cammy, the more you're inviting trouble from Deportivo Merlo, Pest Control, and Falcons.
Depends on how aggressive any of them want to be. In fact, I actually like where Wuju 2 is positioning. Their terrain is really strong to be taking some of these fights. They're leaving one to sort of watch over, but there it is. And Zero does open up on Karam. Lucid still making sure that they don't get backfilled. They need to make sure that they balance their aggression to the south and their defense from the north effectively. But Joshi and Blissey, last 2 standing for Pest Control, are rather proning at this moment.
Yeah, Blissey, though, with that FAMAS, we know how important a weapon that can be. The gun absolutely shreds this sort of range. Shrimzy, he's going to click on empty as he peeks over towards Enzito, and Kick is going to catch out one. Trade it back instantly by Enzito, as Shrimzy will now need to step up to the fray once more. Seifu going for the wide wrap on the other side, and Seifu hits those.
Shrimzy thought that he was safe, but didn't swing back behind the terrain far enough, and now the follow-up grenade, it missed. I don't think the frag grenade was able to make it over the ridge, and now Atron with a counter frag able to knock Seifu. So all of a sudden, things have been evened on up with the run from the rest of Falcons, but is that a Panzerfaust? No, I thought I saw 1 or 2 for a quick moment. But look at Tickleton swinging up from the side, and Zito's gonna try and catch him, but Tickleton gets the knock.
That is second knock for Enzito now as well. Tiggleton with the nade in the back pocket. The last Falcon standing will need to soar, but just in time. You see the third party from Pest Control hitting sneak attack for some damage, and if you're Tiggleton, you need to use that distraction to potentially get H1 back on his feet, but with the blue on his toes, I think Tiggleton will be forced to play as a solo. Kawazine, right, I'm just going to say it, Cammy. This is the player I have been most excited to see in FPP all year long. Just before EWC, he just edged in. He hit the edge that he could play competitively, was too late to play in EWC qualifiers, but Furia have picked this kid up, and as far as I can tell, he's the real deal.
We'll see what they can do. See what the debut can deliver here in the PAS group stage. Currently at the moment, though, Furia are bleeding out. 2 players knocked down. Yin Yang with an angle to keep them from leaving their compound going into the zone. It did go to the south, but not quite on the edge that Furia were hoping for them. Rocky Sports now with the rotate of their own. RBN in front with the buggy. The rest behind. All in one vehicle. It's a dangerous rotation. They're able to find a spot to at least make their next move from. It's not in the zone. But I mean, really, what is? Looking at the field in front of them, just going to have to send and follow up where Falcons and Wuju 2 just tried to take care of each other. Pest Control, I believe, also just got eliminated. There's a lot of open space still, but so many pockets for solo players to be playing in. Tickleton's actually going to step up and take this fight. Caught a bit more action than he was expecting.
Yeah, BL finding that kill, and that's going to signal to Yahoo, who now realizing that you've got Rock to deal with as well, have collapsed their 2-2 split into a full 4. But as that's all going on, Yin Yang are on the move here as well. All of these teams want to secure the northeastern side to themselves. to buy themselves the ability to only look towards the center of the circle from this point on. Yahoo, though, Cammy, are in such a bad spot, stuck between the two South American sides, and I think they're just going to get torn apart.
It goes right now. See if Rock can use this position to try and take over the whole game. I'm just looking at this field right now, and to get into the center, you need to get on the low ground, so it's kind of a catch-22 of any decision that these teams want to make right now. Trisk with an angle, trying to find Shinboy, while making sure that doesn't get popped by Rock. That's always the difficult thing. That's the one downside of high ground like this, is that sometimes the low ground is actually with the defensive advantage, but grenades come out, that kind of turns the tables on that.
Yin Yang, they want to get these points onto Yahoo, but they know that Rocker on the other side. BL looks up over. It's actually a Lear from Deportivo Merlo who gets the knock from a little further towards the south, giving BL and the rest of Rock even more headway to push in on this fight. Now, RBN has been left behind. He's keeping an eye on Deportivo Merlo, who've extended out. They want a bit of this action, and RBN's going to step up from the blue. He's going to get a knock onto one. Takes a little bit of damage from Danny. The blue zone is going to start hurting now too, and Rock, having pushed so well on the Yahoo Kami, now getting backfilled by Deportivo Merlo.
They're pushing them back, however. The DM are running away, tails between their legs. They don't want to take that fight. Grenades come out, though. Michael's going to go down. Check it back in with good old-fashioned... What was he tagged in this? Mission Ready International Alliance. Can they work their mission here and defend from the International Alliance? Okay, that doesn't really work. We'll workshop that. Come back later. Yeah. Check in at the end of group stage. It'll be better.
Yeah, you'll get there. Don't worry, I believe. But I'm going to call them by their full name all day because, you know, put some respect on Mission Ready International Alliance as they look to hold the western side of the circle. D still hanging on in there for Al-Qudsia, creeping his way in, and Posa. You're not supposed to drop a little bit of cover on top of the young gunner for your side, and D now sees that as a dinner bell being rang. He's going to toss the nade up, sprays on over, gets the knock onto Smirzera as well. Al-Qudsia will fall as Mission Ready International Alliance pick up that kill, but now that's the window opened. They should be pushing this fight right now while they try to get Kawazine back on his feet. The blue is here as well. Furia, I think Angus isn't looking great for you.
The problem is, you saw the line from Mira. They just can't make this push. They're going to let the blue do its work and play more defensive, which even if that does mean giving up a kill point or two to the blue zone, it's probably the best strategy right now, but they're clearing up a couple of them, though. Furia are still in trouble. And there they go. They even go down to the blue. I don't know if that was a deny or just a struggle to get out of such a tricky situation. They go down, but Mira on the push. Below, no way. Stuns come out. And shots from the north. This is going to be a tricky hold.
Yeah, look, they left Haven. They knew the blue zone was going to get problems, so they're taking the fight. Vixen and LFP combined for one knock each onto No Way. And as quickly as they were pushed, they've been dealt with. And that gives Team Mira access to the shack and access to the southern border of the circle. Rock will lose two players on their own. And here's Cherry Vibes pushing up onto Bestia, who will follow them right out the door. 6 teams left alive now. And a smoke wall being thrown to try get Cherry back on his feet. But do the likes of Ying full send onto this now? You know that Yahoo is weak. They're center of the circle. Or is there just too much going on elsewhere? They're a little bit distracted here, Cammy, by the fact that Mission Ready and International Alliance are working their way into the circle from the western side.
Well, you're going to have a great opportunity to use that high ground and try and pick up as many scavengers as they can, because the big problem with that, and that all these teams have actually had making those pushes towards the center, whether they've been successful or not, is that they're getting shot at from all these other angles because of how open it is. And so if Yin Yang are able to sort of clear out all of the separate angles from the sides, it's going to make any central push that much more successful. But the blue is closing it in. They're running out of opportunities. Their high ground is slipping away from them. But Wycuz is going to get into a range. The grenades are very, very lethal. Forces BL away. Just BL and Solds left. They already have 4 kills, Rocky Sports, and they have a nice shift in their direction. But Yin Yang, they still have the prominent oppressive position.
Yeah, they've got the north all to themselves, and the damage that was dealt on the Rock gives them even more freedom to work in this position. Now, Ali from Deportivo Merlo, he's got his position up close to that little cranny in the wall that'll allow him to play that position for just a little while longer. But Yin Yang, oh my, Yakuza will whip out the Dragon off, gets that knock on to Danny. Danny is in effect out of this game from this point on. And that leaves just Ali as the last player standing for the side. But he's not done yet. He gets the knock on the BL. He'll sprint up into the smoke. Souls just on the other side of the smoke will try to cause a problem. But here come Yin Yang Kami. They see the knocks. They're ready to kill feed. And they're ready to hunt.
They clear it all out. 7 kills right now. We get our top 4. 4v3, v2, v2. MRIA actually able to stay alive, but a nice grenade takes Snakers down. It's all on to Michael. New addition to the roster. Not a new addition to competitive PUBG, however. Can they crawl their way out of this one? They're in the worst position in this Final Four, however.
I'm really looking at this. It's a tough rotate in for some of these teams. Like, even Yin Yang, if you don't get Kane wrapped pretty quickly, he'll be in a little bit of trouble as he wraps his way down towards the rest of the team. But I think that the pressure being put on by them onto other teams in the lobby will open up that rotate back in. But Cammy, you've got the perfect line of sight here from your cuz. Like, once you get off of this ridge line, it is just open terrain. It is a killing field.
That's why they want to stay on this ridge as long as they can. Missed opportunity on potential shot. It's actually going to be Michael that drops Kane. MRA still trying to stay in front of the blue. They're both very, very low. Jap is going to take Snakers down. And there's not going to be any time for a revive, I don't think. Michael is going to try and crawl in, but this could be a last-second deny. Mission Ready International Alliance get eliminated in 4th place. Jappa, the angle is found by LFP, is able to get the heal.
And Kane will not be able to get brought back onto his feet in this one as he is down on the north side of the circle. LFP peeks out from the shack, but as you can see, it's just so hard to get an angle for long enough to find that knock. Now, thankfully, that the Dragunov hits like a truck, and the more damage you do, the more chance you're going to get it. But while all this is going on,
who wins match number
creeping
1?
further up the hill, Fixin doing the same. They do not want to surrender too much territory to Yin Yang on the top of this hill, but I really start to worry for Yahoo. The blue is going to force them out of this position. The vehicles don't have any tires. You've got Mira and Yin Yang both frothing and foaming at the mouth over which of these teams can get these points.
I don't think you worry about denying right now either, because if you can like go out and you can happen to like get a knock somewhere,
2 or 5, then I think they might be able to work their way into at least a 2nd place position. Problem is though, there are just, as you mentioned, Gibson, so many eyes on this one spot. Smokes are going out. Could give them a little bit of cover, but the only direction to push is into Yin Yang. Jap is going to take this opportunity freely. A lot of damage, no knock, but it's still going to slow Yahoo down.
I'm watching this, and if Yahoo get any form of a knock onto Yin Yang at all, you can expect Mira to push up the hill onto Yin Yang then. Just bypassing Yahoo, realizing that the high ground and taking on Yin Yang is your best avenue towards success. But it might even happen a little bit quicker than that because Fixin has got Trisk in his sights. Throwing the first nade over. 45 damage dealt by the shrapnel. The spray is going to come up as well as they both do the dance. Fana will get the trade, but maybe it's a second too late. Mira down to just 2 players left standing. LFP only has this bit of cover as they confirm that one out, and Fana's going to go for the rest, and the train might help him out here because the nade should fall down the hill. Kane gets the knock on the Cherry. They're being pushed on both sides. Or Yin Yang. Balefrost gets the double, and that fight, and it leaves it all down to Yakuza. Yin and Yang. Well, it's more like Yin and Yahoo at this point in time, and Yahoo are proving to be the more powerful threat, Cammy. They're going to get this res off. I think that Yakuza is going to attempt to kick up some util from his fallen comrade, but Yahoo and Mira pushing Yin Yang at the same time has caused them so much trouble.
Spot of the run, spot of the rush. Belfast is able to hold on to it. Baited the revive, but didn't follow through with it. Heard the footsteps, but now 3 versus 1. Mira are going to be looking to take this game over at the end. Can Balefrost make it work? Such low HP. First aid kit up. They survived longer than we expected. Can they survive anymore? Even the pan goes out looking for a final kill, but it's going to be a knock. Balefrost HP is super low.
Yeah, this
Gets
is not
one.
a player that you want to play with too long. Balefrost can win situations like this. Fana goes up to the crates. He'll get himself some level 3 gear, but Mira, they're going for the res. Another spray dealt out towards Bale. He steps up into the open, but you can't spell Miramar without Team Mira, and they get it done once more on this map.
He knew that they were going for it, so...
I don't know what it is about the desert, but it brings out the best in Miramar. Or Mira.
You messed your own pun up. It's fine. It's early days. We're still getting warmed up. But yeah, Team Mira pulling it out once again. Listen, we set up the storyline. The new team of 2025 coming up, chasing at the coattails of everyone in front of them. And we got to see if they can follow through, but at least they get the good start that we can expect from them.
See, I think the way... I don't want to say that they don't have any respect for teams in the lobby, but they just don't have any fear. Like, they're not a team that go, oh, that's Falcons, I'm not pushing them. It's like, well, we need to take that position, so we're going to bring the fight to you. It's, as you said, it's they get themselves in these positions, but then they never quite get over the line. And I think it's the pressure that I think that gets to them. But this is a great start. We'll see where they'll get to from here.
Absolutely. You know what I'm not scared of, though? A break! We're going to go check out our... setting up game number 2 in just a few...
Welcome back, and you hit the nail on the head, Gibson. It didn't matter if you loved the story of Ying and Yaho or if you loved the story of Mira and Maria. It was a great endgame as two teams that I think had names that worked well together just kept facing off. That's what I'm going with. I know, and I'm going to force you all day today to continue to say the full name of MRIA because you said you were going to, Gibson, and we're not letting you off of that for the entire night. But I'm calling it
as well.
Maria. That's what I'm going to call him. Like Maria with the Mostly because like Trevor told me they did it. Trevor said they did it to troll us, so I feel like we should really just troll them back. Team Mira comes away with a big win, and they are doing really well. You guys set up this story at the start of the day. We saw them in Masters. We see them play all year. They've been very strong. Here's my challenge, though. You brought this up, Gibson, that you can't spell Miramar without Mira. The problem is, at Masters, it wasn't Miramar. It was Mira Mall because they could not win on Miramar. It seemed like most of their points came through a wrangle. Do you think they've improved their Miramar, or is that just Masters was a one-off and you've seen them do well in other aspects generally on Miramar?
I think it's just Masters. They struggled a little bit, but all the way through the Cups and the Super Cups, Mira always seemed to win the first map of the day on Miramar. It was like an inevitability at that point. And they had a little fall off for like a couple of weeks when they lost Kawazine, but then they went and outperformed Fury in the next couple of Cups. So I still think that the sky's the limit for this roster.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, can they keep it up? Because the pipeline of talent that is coming out of like Latin America right now and the Americas is scary.
It's true. A big part of that, Cameron, though, is I feel like it's similar as the story to Southeast Asia, right? Where we saw these teams start to get wins. They're in a region where that win, here we're playing for let's say $10,000. A North American player takes that in, they still have to work full time. There's a lot of players in other regions who can really benefit from a big win to sort of parlay them into training time, facility, function. And I think South America, our region, has just skyrocketed over the last 2 years because so many players have been able to sort of focus on their game for the first time, which has been exciting. Or do you just think they've always been this good and I haven't noticed?
I think your points are not. I think there are, there's value to them, but I think just looking across the board, Brazil across so many different competitions, whether it's esports or not, there's something culturally about committing to the craft in the way that, I'll be honest, Americans don't necessarily have that. Listen. It's look across every esport. It's true. It's the same, right? So I think it's more of just a factor of like they care about it more. They care about winning more.
That makes sense. They go out there and they got that grind. They want to get out there. They see I think that's part of it too, Gibson, is they are still a growing scene. I do feel like North America has languished in sort of talent development aggressively, whereas a lot of other regions have not. Is there a solution to that, or is this just the future is South America?
I think there's just an inevitability about Brazil. Like, Cabby spoke about it in every sport, but in particular, in any FPS esport that I've watched, Brazil has always been a region where at the start, or at least as an esports progresses, like, oh my god, there's so many mechanically gifted players, but the macro play and the decision making was never there. But then something clicks. Like, no matter what esport or what FPS title it is, there's always a line in the sand where something clicks and they just go to another level. And I think we're at that point now in the Americas where they've started to focus fully on the decision making to go with the incredible mechanics that they have. And I think that this should be a kick up the backside for the North American teams, because yes, we're all one region and we're going to support everybody when we go internationally, but these players still see a North American, South American divide whenever we come to PAS.
Oh, 100%. I mean, even when you see them at these big events, they are still sort of separate but together, right? Like,
separate but
together. Barrier, which maybe, we talked about Bestia sort of changes could have possibly come into play. That said, I will also say this for the South American teams, Cameron. They have traveled to international events for a while without a lot of other South American teams who speak the same language with them, and have been forced to be very insular. That is not necessarily the case over the last year. They have had significantly more South American players of quality who share language and culture, like being at these events. And I kind of wonder sometimes if that's helped them improve even more at the international level, because it'd be pretty crappy to be stuck in China for 23 days with no one to talk to, but your three friends.
Yeah.
That would suck.
That's exactly. That's absolutely a fair point, right? Is just having people to make the experience good. And again, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, when you look at the international events and the traveling to LAN, like they are actually kind of brutal in the way that PUBG has them run, because it's just such a long whole system. And so having ways to sort of let off steam and make the event more fun overall and keep your stress levels down, if you want to look at this from a sports performance perspective, keeping your stress levels down, you're able to perform better on the day. And then, as always is the case, or at least you hope is always the case, teams that perform internationally can take those learnings and bring it back and teach regionally and sort of have it filter down that way. And so I think that's certainly one of the many factors leading to Latin America's continued growth.
All right, let's dig into some of the stuff that happened in that game. Okay, here's a fun one. Goon versus QAD. Still a thing, Gibson. That, I think, is why QAD didn't even stand a chance getting to PGS last time around. Remember, Gooners was very mean to them. Was this an accident, or should we expect this to keep happening again?
If it happens once, it's an accident. I think fair. if it keeps happening over and over and over again, it's more of a trend. Now, is it a case where you could say that causality is the same? What's the phrase? Coincidence doesn't mean causality. I'll get the phrase. It's going to come back to me. But I feel like they are each other's worst enemies, and I feel like the more it happens, it's going to get into Al Qudsi's heads more, because they're the team that on paper have most to lose. They're with an org. They're getting a salary. They're getting a wage. Like, Gooners are just here for the love of the game and to have a bit of fun.
Exactly. Well, I guess fun is different for everyone, which I find very interesting watching the Gooners play. But you're right, it is. That PUBG's about a good time with the homies, and that's exactly what these guys are here doing, and they're pretty good at it.
The last thing, Toffees, that you want to tell a Gooner is that the way that they are enjoying themselves is wrong.
That is, I should have just glossed right over it. And that was good, though.
What are you talking about?
The Gooners are just out there to enjoy their game. You're 100% right, but they say that. I think deep down they really want to come out with a big win. At the end of the day, all of these teams, including the ones that are making comebacks, Gibson, like at their core, they're always pros. What happened again?
More
Look at the
drumstick.
map!
Oh no. Okay, I'm not
Yeah,
going to say the
it's
same
fine.
thing this time.
Yeah. Right, I remembered the phrase. Everyone. Correlation is not causation, right? That's the phrase I was looking for. For those of you, it means just because you can correlate data doesn't mean that it's actually the cause of the data.
Yeah, well, we're learning a lot about that here in the Americas region lately. It does look like our circle is up. It might be a drumstick. We'll see if that means I'm in trouble. I'm going to turn it over to you boys as we finish up game number 2.
Dude, Gibson.
Yeah.
I think Miramar has realized that I've been giving Erangel way too much attention, whether it's negative or not. Attention is attention. And just said, hold my beer. Because why that circle twice in a row, that's absolutely insane. We'll see what learnings teams have. And it is going to be a bit of a different game, right? And to state the obvious, plane path was different. It came from a different direction. It was a different angle. And so that adjusting the drop spots is going to make the rotations unique coming into this. But for Yahoo, certainly already being in the center, we'll see how they want to follow up. They almost got a win.
Yeah, they got into the final 4 and they played into the final 2 with a great decision to make the push onto Yin Yang the same time as Team Mira did. So, you know what? Just keep it up. Keep making smart decisions and see where it goes. But I just realized that you were speaking about how much you love Erangel, but how Miramar starting to, draw your attention. Do we need to make that meme of you walking down the street holding Erangel's hand but looking over your shoulder at Miramar walking past?
I would never touch Miramar. Oh, sorry, I would never touch Erangel with a 7-foot stick. Miramar has always been my ride or die.
Okay, well, it's a map that we'll get into the conspiracy of Erangel a little bit later on.
It's not a conspiracy, it's fact.
Well, I've my own reasonings why I think it's the case happening, but we'll jump onto some of these rotates. The Gunners are working their way past Team Mira. I think what makes the Gunners so dangerous is they will just straight up crash you in phase 1. They will straight up crash you in phase 2. They don't care. Now, I will say that in the current patch, with the fact that you can get blue chips back, that it's not as bad as it might have been in the the last PAS. But I still feel like Gunners are just such an unpredictable team that it's so dangerous to be dropping anywhere near them.
Yeah, there are a couple of teams that since the very beginning of PUBG, it's like they're the teams that are, the way they play, they kind of draw your attention, like they're the main character, like they're the hero. And then there are some teams that the way that they play, it's almost like they're the final boss. Which, that doesn't mean that they can't win. Oftentimes, those teams have won. Those teams have often won international tournaments. But they're just a force of nature. They're going to be there to take you out, and Gunners are the next level of that. In fact, they're going to be chasing Mira down. They might have had an angle while Mira stopped and grabbed a vehicle.
This is dangerous because you got T-Sock riding shotgun with the Dragunov. Going to dip into cover because he spotted that Fakesen had set up a roadblock, and now the Hunters have become the Haunted Haven. It's trying to pop some tires now as they try to corral the Gunners into a position where you can pick up these easy points. But this is where the Murado will just gather speed and get further and further away off into the distance. But for just a second, we were flirted with the chance of having a couple of points picked up for Gunners. Then it flipped on its head. But just look how much distance T-Sock has already opened up onto the rest of Mira. LFP is the only chance they have now of setting up an effective roadblock.
Yeah, but keep your eyes on the map, though, because the other half of Gunners have also arrived. Bit of a swing pass, but Fakesen has the line up. Bunt goes down. Now T-Stock has to take over the driver's seat, and the tire goes out. This is not looking good, trying to swap seats around. There's going to be a second knock going for Mira and the other members of Gunners. They're here just a bit too late. Knowing the squad, though, you imagine they're going to keep going for the fight.
Well, they're out in the open. Like, at this point, you're going to push the fight. MP5K or not? There's a chance at some points. Icy spots out Haven, but he's going to seat swap, but he gets out on the wrong side, and Simply Matt will spray him down with the M249. They're looking to get this kill confirmed. A point on the board for them. But there's Fana pushing up from the other side, trying to put some fantastic cover down on to keep the Gunners at bay. All this happening inside the circle, so there is no rush to get this fight over and done with as quick as possible.
Well,
and there's LFP getting that knock.
You say no rush. Look at the minimap and seeing a couple of different icons appear on the corner. Deportivo Melo are looking to arrive. This Sandstorm, though, could give Icy Flex an opportunity to get Simply Matt picked right back up, but not going to be the case. LFP with their frag grenade, and I think Icy Flex is going for the flank regardless. Trying to get another sneaky little backstab. As we saw from the previous game, Gooners can be the most dangerous when it's just themselves alone by themselves.
I think that at this point, they're going to spend some time looking for Icy, but I don't know how much resources you want to put into it. Now, with the blue chips being a factor, yes, you could put more focus on getting this kill because you know there could be an enemy brought back. So I think Mira will just do a little bit of fishing, some drive-bys, and see what they can find out. That nade will be a really good signal that Icy's not too far away. And well, the gunshots are an even better one. And Icy now had the opportunity to maybe play dead, but is now going to get the opportunity to play dead for real. He's dealt with Fix and picks up the kill. And Team Mira, will they increase that gap? They were on 19 points, now they're up to 23.
Pretty big lead. It's early days. We say this every single time. Everyone, chat, don't get too ahead of yourselves. Things are going to adjust. The chances of Mira continuing to go on this linear trajectory ahead of everyone else is very unlikely. But still, a lead's a lead. They'll be happy to see that on the leaderboard, and we'll see what it looks like by the end of the day for sure. But checking in with a couple of other teams, Wuju 2 and Pest Control, very similar to area to where we saw them fight previously.
I'm just waiting to see if Lucid is going to extend far enough to take on this gunfight. Like, the terrain here is not a massive help. As far as I think Pest Control are concerned, they have their back open to a lot of open ground. Like, any team pushing in from that eastern side could get the opportunity to put some shots into Pest Control. And I think that's just why they're a little bit cautious about this position. And Wuju 2 as well, Cameron, they don't want to give up what they have to try hunt points that might not even be there.
Yeah, it's the early days of a round of PUBG. Kills are nice, but it's really about setting yourself up for the mid game. And right now, Wuju 2 is gathering a fair bit of information. They saw a couple of people up to the northwest, and is making sure that they catch any potential rotates along the eastern road. Battle is... Wait a second. Battle X is actually pushing forward. Maybe he heard the vehicle, the maneuver of sneak attack. Could be potentially catching Lucid out.
It's definitely worth keeping an eye on.
Both these teams.
Yeah, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. I think he's just, as we would like to call, fishing at this point in time. Lucid's... He's off this, but Cammy, like, this is all just posturing and gesturing at this time, because you look at the circle, you know, if you don't have the map feed open, get it open, you can see where everybody is. But
I don't want to see where everyone is
for now, because there's no point going there, because I don't think we're finishing up there.
No, it's again, even with the shift that we saw in the first round, even then the chances were low and it ended up not going. But I think the chances were still at that point like below 40%. Bestia rotate in. They didn't get a lot done the previous game. I don't think Mime was actually playing round one, wasn't able to connect. But they have all four up. And now let's wait for phase number 2. Get a better view. There's a little bit of water still in play, but it's going to be a hard shift, pretty hard shift over towards the west, towards Valdemar. Looking good for Rock Esports if they can hang on to this position. But that is a pretty aggressive valley. 2 of them, rather, going down the center of this circle. These are some of the most prominent high ground, low ground dynamics on Miramar, which already is really dramatic when it comes to that. So seeing teams volley for control of those high ground positions, I think is going to be a big part of what's happening in the early mid game here.
Yeah, it looks like I'm back. I did lose the feed for just a little bit, but thankfully, well, maybe for some people, maybe not so thankfully, but I am back on the mic here once more with you, Cammy, and you look at Furia. They're moving in from that northwestern side. They've got complete control of this area of the map, but I don't know if they know it yet. They can keep going further south, and get the prime position at the end of the valley. Shrimsy, though, he gets the prime position on the mission ready international alliances. Michael, one of the most international players, I suppose, on that team, and I think he's going to get dealt with pretty quickly as those nades are sent out to flush him.
Yes. Flush him. Flush him now.
Revive to try and go for. So mission ready, gonna have to.
What? Falcons are only in 7th place right now.
still a decent position for the rest of the squad.
They have more work to do.
Be too upset at losing that. Problem is they've lost one already, so this I believe is just gonna be them down to 2. That's the big problem. But Mira now, this is actually going to be Haven being brought back, as he said. Blue chip revive. We still don't see an insane amount of them, but they do have around 2 or 3 a match at max. But Bestia try and send it onto Pest Control, and they're just going to pick these kills up with ease.
Yeah, Pest Control picking up those easy points onto the Bestia Beasts as they moved on in. And, well, for Pest Control, 2 more points on the board. It keeps them into the top 8. Now, it's way too early to be talking about that just yet. We are 2 maps into a total 12 for every single team in the lobby. But I think for Bestia, you don't want to lose players early, especially when you consider the fact, Cammy, that I don't think they had Mime in map 1. So they're not going to have Mime for much longer in map 2 either. Alcudsia, they've got Mira not too far away on, who brought someone back from an E-pickup, and that'll be Haven dropping inside Brickyard. But I think for Alcudsia, I actually like where they are in the circle. Just play the edge for a while. I know that that's what Roth likes to do. And let a lot of these teams on the southern side deal with each other, because we have the opposite problem this time, Cammy. Last time, it was so many teams outside the circle to the north. This time, it seems like everybody's already made a move in towards the center, which gives teams like Alcudsia and Mira loads of space to play with.
Yeah, it's because there's more positions to play in the center, but look at all the spaces you mentioned for teams like Mira and Alcudsia. Now, they're going to have to try and make sure they don't get stabbed in the back or shot from the sides while making their way in closer in, because there are a couple of open areas they need to be aware of. Another sandstorm is going to hit Team Mira, second in one whole game. Just a few seconds away from seeing phase number 3. It's going to be a good center up, still a touch of water, but not too much of a consideration. Rocky Sports still looking good. 2 members on the high ground, 2 members what looks to be dead center on the low ground as a backup position, though I do think saying split 2-2 in a circle like this could be quite risky.
Even more funny is we're, less than a half a kilometer from where the last game ended? And look at how different the terrain is. It is such a different circle. There's so much more hard cover and play for all these teams. So it's going to make it a very different ending. Now, no way they're just completely full sending it here as the Broncos migrate their way inside the circle. And I think one of those Broncos has bucked its way onto its side. But I think that it might be back up and running once more. But no worries. Like, I'm looking at them. Where do you go? Because if you push up this hill too far, you're running directly into another fight. You push down the hill, you run into rock. Like, no worries. Where do you go?
I honestly don't know. You just got to go for a fight at this position, but we're going to run to the same problem that we had last game, is that there's going to be so many more than usual angles for a third party. And so a team like No Way just trying to hit the ditches this early on isn't too much of a surprise. This is a classic response to a circle like this all the way back from 2019-2020 in this zone.
Pest Control sees the return of a couple of faces we all know pretty well. If you're from in and around the Americas, players like Joshi and BattleX, they'll be looking to just get something going. Get into the finals lobby and see what can happen there, because at the very least, you've guaranteed yourself a spot inside the LCQs. Snakers, though, is looking for a little bit more. Team Mira's fixing not too far away, as Mission Ready International Alliance is going to lose another player. Snakers will be the next to fall, and Vox will flee. But that's kill number 5 now for Mira, who look at the other team's acronym and say, hey guys, you're just imposters at this point. We want to pick up these kills.
Ooh, good grenade by Vox. I'm shocked that didn't get the knock. It looked like it was right on Fake Sin's dome. But now we're just going to push in behind cover. The rest of the team is grouping up. Fana not too far behind, but they're able to break away from the lethal low ground. There weren't that many potential angles, but now Vox 1 versus 4. Where is Gats? I thought Vox was down to a solo at this point, but Castin playing opposite, but here come the mortars. Maybe this is why ditch plays aren't as favored in the current year of PUBG esports. Everyone's just getting better and better at these tools, and no way they lose too.
No way is what Lucid said when he sent that up, and it landed right on top of them. gets a couple of those kills, and that dip ain't looking as good as it did. Circle shift goes heavily up towards Collector and Alcudia up on the northeast of the circle, but keep an eye now. Fana walks in, he uses that Panzer to catch Vox, and it's another kill from Team Mira. Gats is arriving on the scene right now, but Mission Ready International Alliance are dealt with. But I think Mira in trouble, Cammy. Look at that map. Falcons are in that position. Yin Yang are there as well. This is a tough spot to be in.
And look, there's even a BRDM trolling around. Jaws tune. Cue the music. Yep, it just sent. Oh, send it in. But the problem with the BRDM, though, very lethal to Panzers. And Sam Crew is able to pick 2 up just like that. And hey, look, even if they miss, there's another one on the floor.
Yeah, that was definitely not the right play from Bestia, but hindsight is 20/20. Punage using that K9 from afar, trying to catch out those members of Rock. Now, even if he did get that knock, I don't think that the flush will be following right behind it because of the fact that he was walking inside the door. But I really like Yahoo's position. You've got the high ground, you've got teams that are natural buffers all around you because potentially Dangerous and Rock, they're protecting your south. Alcudia and Collector, they're protecting your north. Like Yahoo have got themselves a bunch of allies here, at least temporarily.
Falcons have arrived. Miro still stuck on the edge. We just saw Yin Yang go down to the low ground, but also on the edge themselves. The low ground is the center. I mean, there are a couple of teams already there pitted in, like you can see on your map right now, that they still have a little bit of a ridge. That's high ground for their position. Rocky Sports still 4 up, no kills for them. Coming into the party late. Fashionably late, strategically late. Waiting for everyone else to sort of loosen the lid on the kill points up for grabs, and then they're going to sweep in and clean it all up. Where a fight has been happening here on the east side. It's been a bit more loud, a bit more active this side of the party. But still, Collector with 0 points for themselves so far.
Yeah, Collector, they've got a lot of control up on the north, but you can't move too further south because Alcudia are effectively a roadblock on the other side of this ridge line. So they're just happy to sit here for now and let the rest of the lobby deal with it. Now, RBN, he'll catch out a member of Pest Control as they rotate their way right on by. And those Birds of Prey Rock, they're not going to say no thanks to easy points like that one. Mira, looks like they did get into the circle, at least for temporarily. But Team Falcons, they know who they've knocked, and they know that this is a team that is going to push them if they get a chance. So I think Team Falcons got to bring the heat towards Mira while they can.
Problem is, the Blues right here. And then they're vulnerable to some high ground angles on the far east side. Circle shifts away. Pretty hard shift down to the southeast, away from both of these teams' positions. And Mira, they're just going to make a break for it. They're going to hope, they're going to pray that Falcons don't miss, but it's the Falcons, and that's a pretty bad gamble. I wouldn't take that. But it looks like they are able to make their way out, but it's spinning down the side of this hill face. That's the bigger problem. And where do they go? Where's the end position? That's the real question. LFB goes down. Gets instantly cleared up by Hazel. The rest of Mira, though, they're going to try and crash your hoe. Grenades are already at the ready from both sides.
They get the knock. Smirzera got a knock. Cherry got knocked by Fury, and that's opened the door here for the players of Mira. Yahoo now, they need to stick the fight. Fixin will get a knock of his own as things start to look really bad for Yahoo now with just Shin and Beal left alive. Your top 2 in the lobby, and your top 2 from the last map going head-to-head as Fana is sprayed down by Shin. Haven will drop as well, leaving Fixin as the last one of those angry pugs left standing. And this is all really just damage control now for both of these sides. Fixin will toss the nade out. That might buy him just about enough time. He wants the res, but I don't think Yahoo are going to give him the opportunity to because they're pushing this way. The question is the cover going to come in from the other side of that ridge line? I don't think
that's a double blue zone.
Shinboy has stepped out, but no shot sent his way.
Running for the angle into fakes in. They are able to find it. The BZ grenade and then the shot through the window. Team Mira get eliminated. Yahoo, they might lose 2. But they defend the compound, they get a couple of kill points, and now it's Falcons looking to potentially follow through. No, they're going to try and pit below the low ground. They're going to play for placements here. Not going for kills like Team Mira potentially. We're going to, and Kickstar's still going to land. Not a lot of cover, and a couple other teams could be looking at their position, salivating. Romello are locked in with a fight with Wuju 2. Sneak attack trying to close things up. 1 versus 2, it looks like.
I'm looking
Sneak
at
attack, what can he do? Oh, it's Quan from behind, actually.
Furia is going to get the pressure on the other side.
Kawazine
will step up and get his first knock. Looking to take out sneak attack, but he will steal that kill away. That leaves Ali as the last player standing for Deportivo Merlo. The blue zone is going to be at Furia's back pretty soon as well. They look to deal with these 2 solos. If you can deal with these 2 solos before they deal with themselves, you might just get yourself out of that 15th spot, which is not where a team like Furia would expect to be at this point in time. Sneak uses that
Lear trying to find.
We'll step up and peek a little bit of damage.
Where is Roth gonna go?
What's going on here? Alcudsia, they've made their move inside the circle, and I'm surprised Dream
Collector,
find that knock.
3 kills so far. They're collecting.
Take Roth down. Put him on his knees, at least temporarily, though. Look at the position.
That nade looks real good, yeah. Yeah.
Through, the grenades go flying down. The Molly and the BZs are all going to be there to confirm the kill points. It's all on Torello to try and save Alcudsia. And Furia is just picking it all up. They are climbing up that leaderboard fast.
Another point on the board as Kraken will get the kill on Divini. Yin Yang here. They've got only Rello left to deal with, but Rello inside that BRDM is just going to try to survive as long as possible, as Alcudsia, currently sat in 10th place, have not had a Miramar to remember for any good reasons, at least so far on the night. Rock, they're now on the outside of the circle looking in as Kane, well, he's probably lucky that A, the BRDM is not very fast, and B, that the terrain didn't work into his favor. It was going uphill. So I think for Rello, just find somewhere to park up that BRDM, stay alive for a while longer.
Ooh.
Hello.
Lynx, baby. Oh. You gotta make them all count, though. You have very limited ammo. Grenades trying to land on Rello, but Rello doesn't think it's working the ridge well. Staying alive, not yet in placement points. However, if he's gonna pop out, gonna take the fight, throws a grenade, gets a little bit of damage, not the knock. I think these grenades are looking good, though. The damage to the BRDM is gonna start stacking up. Oh god, now Furia.
Yeah, Rello, just get out of there. Just drive on by. Oh, jump out that side and try and get a kill. But Gizera's there as Furia will get another kill as they're having a Furiosis rise up that leaderboard as things stand. Kraken will spray. He gets himself one in conjunction with Posa as they really pose a threat pushing up this hill. And Furia move up to kill number 11.
They are dominating right now.
Window is well and truly open at this point, and somehow, some way, Falcons are still alive in that little dip that they found.
I think they were protected by Rock Esports. You can see the angle that Rock has there on the south, making sure that all the teams that were also coming in from the west, like Pest Control, who just got eliminated, didn't have a lot of freedom to deal the damage to Falcons that they were looking for. So Falcons' play for safety has been working out so far. But how many boards can they get from this position? That's the real gamble. They get a couple of placements, but how many really is it going to be? And Rock Esports, all 4 of them are taking the line with them. That's going to be the big challenge because we know utility at this range. Very lethal, very dangerous. Potentially dangerous, though, coming in from the high ground up against their home. They defended against one team already. Can they do it a second time?
Bale going to throw that nade if he can get it the right distance, the right angle. He'll get himself a collateral here on the PD, but they get the player up on his back. They carry him further away.
Yeah, they just pick him up and leave.
Will force him back into cover.
That's the right way to go about that.
Still near as close to center circle as you could get with the amount of cover they have. The circle will shift violently to the other side of the road here, and all of a sudden, you've got to think traffic's going to be really heavy going towards Falcons.
Traffic where? Because that's a clean, sheer rock face. The only real road, heavy quotes on that, is where Furia are holding on. That's why I think Furia actually now suddenly with this shift have the best position in the game. Assuming they can stay alive and take care of a couple of the solos, like looking at forward there on the north, they should be able to really control. You can see them spreading back out towards the north to get all the angles. Rock Esports, those solos, trying to send a player all the way to the left to have some sort of anchor position, not just for the Falcons, but for the end game. Oh, but Gizero going down against Yahoo. That's going to make Yahoo's efforts a bit more difficult to try and get the chicken dinner here.
Curious enough too, you look at this, Furia are full sending it to the other side of the circle, and Oh, Rock, they sent Souls over there by himself. So Rock are trying to play both sides, whereas Fury have full committed on playing on the western side of the circle. Souls, though, will get that knock onto Kawazine. As that, keep an eye on that fight on the other side of the zone. Rock will send everybody else over now as well to help out Souls as he peeks up over the ridgeline, deals a little bit of damage onto Kraken as he rises up. But Souls, he's got to dance and stay alive as long as he can. He stayed alive long enough so that Rock can get here. Posa will see Kawazine fall, but you got to give all the momentum here to Rock. Santa steps on up and puts another team into that big bag of points that he has. Gets the kill confirmed. Rock will lose another player in the midst of all that action. 4 kills on the board, and Posa, the last Furia member standing.
Rough sledding, 12 kills. Furious will have a great game, but the second they move out, they just get peppered in. Whether it's from the high ground or whether it's from Falcons, potentially dangerous do eliminate your hoe. In the meantime, we saw them crash that compound a few moments ago, and now let's see what they can utilize really from that high ground. Look at Santastico sneaking around. Post is able to heal on up and is even going to toss the deployable, the emergency cover flare and see if it gets a Goomba Stomp kill. You never know. You can always look out in your favor, but swinging out from the side, able to get a knock, gets a second, and then RBN is low, almost gets crushed.
Oh my, Posa almost pulled that one out of the bag, but he's still not done yet. RBN, the last player for Rock standing.
So close.
4v1, v2, v1 of standing players. Posa will sprint on up to the cover that he got. He'll get another point on the board for Furia. And it looks like RBN wanted to go for the res. He's picking up BL. He's trying to put him into some cover as there's a body block. And there's the kill. Is potentially dangerous as Gabri will get the kill alongside Nightavon from the other side of the road. Falcons with 1 player left standing. It's Shrimzy tucked in close to the mountain, but potentially dangerous. If they don't win this game, it is a throw of colossal scale. And there's Shrimzy. I don't even think there's nothing Shrimzy can do here if this needs good.
Yeah, I don't think it is, though. Finding the angle you can see can only look so far down. The molly is probably going to be better, especially if it gets stacked up. I don't think that's going to spread to his position. It's really about, oh, that grenade is good.
Oh my.
About half HP. Now the vehicle's about to go up, so the cover from the west is no longer there either. This could give Posa the opportunity to pick up 1 more kill, 1 more placement point. Confirm at least 2nd place, but this really is going to be potentially dangerous as chicken dinner unless something miraculous happens.
Posa's got 1 HP, by the way. Just peeking this, no problem with 1 HP with the blue at his back. I think it's just a race between Fury and Falcons to see who's going to get 2nd spot. And PD, things go well, they should get an 11 kill chicken dinner. Now, that'll be the blue zone taking out his post. I think does deny. Shrimzy will sprint and dash off to the distance. Gabri will get himself down to the ground. Boots on the ground, and Shrimzy's caught out by Glock. And it is potentially dangerous, bouncing back from a poor first game to get a win in game number 2. And that'll help them a lot as well as they jump up into 2nd spot in the leaderboard.
Good win for them, absolutely. Coming in from the east side, fought through a couple of different teams. Relatively straightforward finish for them, but you will take them. You do not choose where your game leads you. It's all about collecting the points that are in front of you. And even if it seemed a little anticlimactic at the end, 10 points in a chicken dinner is 10 points into chicken dinner.
Hey, points are points, and that's all you need. Remember, nobody is going to go home this weekend, but somebody is going to punch their ticket directly into the grand finals, which is why all that matters is getting into the top 8. But why don't we roll the highlights of that last one and remind anybody who missed the game what they've missed?
welcome back. That was game 2 on the Dusty Dunes, and we are getting ready to transition over to, as we call them, the wildcard maps. My name's Toppies. I'm here with the Cammy D and Gibson Cass for another game with another wild circle, Cameron.
Yeah, and it played out very differently. Again, you can't expect every circle to look the exact same regardless of where it is. This time, potentially Dangerous come out on top with the win, but it was Furia that was drawing the most of our attention. 14 kills, almost tying up potentially Dangerous after the end of that one.
Yeah, and 10 kills, nothing to laugh at, Gibson. Some of that came off of the end of that game and a little BRDM show up at the end, but good game for both of them. But what stands out to me is South America continues to dominate in these first 2 games.
Yeah, 2 games, 2 wins for them, and I think 3 of the top 4 teams all being South American. I think the biggest surprise might be that Yahoo are the best performing of all the North American teams. In fact, as I look at that leaderboard, only 2 of the top 8 are North American, so I'm expecting a big bounce back as the night goes on.
A big boys bounce back is on the way when we come back from this quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with game number 3.
Every time I close my eyes.
It's time to go as we head into the quote-unquote wild card maps. Now, what that has traditionally done is they're not wild cards anymore, but I will say this. In the last couple of events I've watched, Gibson, it feels like South America starts wicked strong, North America starts not so great, and then during the wild card maps, someone, whether it's QAD or Falcons, like pulls out a win. And then all of a sudden, we start to move again. So I'm hoping that's what happens. Now, is that something that you guys have noticed as well, that it seems like North America is kind of still working better on these middle maps, or do you think South America has the same staying power when it comes to these 2?
I think that the changing pace maps do suit some teams rather than others. I think really Rondo is the one that gets a lot of teams going. I think Falcons find a lot of success on that map inside the Americas. But I just feel like it's because there's so much knowledge when it comes to Miramar and Erangel. We said about how the South American teams are getting so much better at the macro side of things that they've got a hang of it. I just think because these are just one-off maps that happen, once a day instead of twice, they're still getting up to pace on them fully.
That is fair. What do you think about these 2 maps? I mean, at the end of the day, I think it has been around. I'm actually waiting for them to change the rotation and drop one of these and adds, or honestly, let's call it a spade, drop a wrangle. Give these guys more and put something else in, because it does feel like these have been in rotation for a long time, Cameron.
Yeah, it's been I can't even remember when they first, but it's been like over a year, right? Since Rondo was included. I think we might have just passed over a year, calendar-wise. Tego's been in for a while. They are as dug in, as competitive PUBG esports maps as everyone else. And I think Tego especially, people have learned that it plays surprisingly very, very similar to Miramar. It doesn't have the same aggressive high ground positions all the time. Then, you know, there were some exceptions like the far north, and then like the east, some parts of the east as well. But generally, the terrain is as good as Miramar is to fight over, which is why I think it's a good transition into Rondo. But it looks like there's a hot drop here.
All right.
I'm ready for it. Are you ready, Toffees? Or are you going to leave us again?
I might watch. I'll sit here in ooh and ah.
Yeah.
Do that. Yeah, do that.
And I'll provide you with things like this. VSS!
Oh no, Lopez! Oh, Hazel gets the first off for the micro. Dreams come swinging in, so Collector, this is a really good start for them. Sam Crow with a stun and a shotgun. The deadliest combo if you can land the shots!
Yep. You bring out the shotgun, you get 2 shots, you miss both of them, you're going to get punished. No way. With just 2 players left standing now, things have gone from pretty bad to worse, and they're called no way, but the only real way this roster is going right now, if things keep going, is out of the lobby with the way this game has started. Collector, they've got 2 kills on the board. A good nade is thrown from DNL, but it's not good enough, and I have a feeling that with that shotgun, Psycho's not going to be too keen to leave this position just yet.
Yeah, we know how strong shotguns are on holding an angle. DNL with the AK, though. Central not,
you know, it's nice, though. I'm glad he whipped those, Cameron, because I whiff them 24/7, and it's nice to see a pro. Because everybody's like, shotguns are the secret to a hot drop. Not for me. Thankfully, somebody else whipped. It's true. I can't use those things to save my life. Literally.
Just point and click. Just point
That's what
and
I
click.
thought! That's what I thought! Sorry. Every time. I pick up Uzis because I don't trust them anymore.
All right, two top tips. Don't aim. Like, don't right click and don't aim for the head. Just center of mass. Center of mass. Oh, it's the double shotgun again. It's going to happen
Shoot it.
again. S686. Oh, I hate the S686.
It is a pretty bad gun.
Oh.
Vinny's trying to keep Hazel locked down, but with someone right below them in the building. Very tricky for Vinny to try and manage this. Swings out again. Again, managing multiple angles. We're trying to cover both of them. Lands a nice little chest shot. Swings in. Gets the second. Psycho, of course, gets another kill across the way. So things are still looking Collector.
Yeah, Collector. They've got a couple of kills now. Make that 3 for Earth. It is down, but not quite out just yet. But Vinny's in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. I think at this point, it's worth risking losing your life to confirm the point, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Finds himself the ability to step inside, but closes the door and closes his chances on no way winning that map. And let's turn our attention to the Gunners, who are looking to bring Yin Yang out of the lobbies. Trisk will throw that nade, but Yappa will be the first one to get a knock and flush onto Bunt. Matt will drop now as well, as Matthias ain't able to get his game really going, and I see 66 damage being dealt off the other way as Gunners, well, much like the last Miramar, they could potentially be finding an early exit here as well, as Kane is... I hate having to say it, but Kane was not able to get that line of fire there either.
That's not true. Coffees, what's the verdict on that one?
Huh? I wasn't listening.
Okay, great. Never mind. Go back to your soup. It's okay. T-Sock goes down. Great answer by Jaffa.
I really enjoyed that fight. I thought it was a good fight. I was also trying to figure out if QAD was going to rotate through the north again and run into Mira for what would have been... I don't want to... Okay, just as a side note, in the last game, Mira died. Yeah. Mira wiped out Gunners. Then QAD ran into Mira later in the game in the spot that Gunners had gone to. Just saying.
You're willing this into existence here. You're really willing it into existence as Cherry Vibes will peek on up. Yahoo cruising into where Collector were in the fight earlier, and Collector will be dealt with here as well as Yahoo take advantage. Yes, it's only 2 points, but it's a southern compound secured for themselves inside of phase 1, and this is what the best teams do, Cammy. Like, they read the kill feed, they know what's going on around them, they realize if we send all 4 players here, odds are we're going to get these kills, and even if we do lose somebody, we'll bring them back.
Yeah, exactly. They all add up. We play so many games, 1 or 2 cool points here and there. That's a whole couple of positions, especially as you see how tight things often are, certainly in the middle of the pack, and for group stage where it's all about hitting top 8, every little point matters. Every little point counts. A lot of teams here you can see on the big overall map on the south is Furia grab a lot of good upgraded gear with the massive amount of loot that gets dropped on this map.
Some would say it's too much gear, Cammy.
Some would say that.
Like, one drop, and yeah, here's 3 level 3 vests, a couple of level 3 helmets, and we'll throw in a Lynx and maybe a FAMAS in there as well to help everybody out. But you know what? Furia, they're not going to complain. They're the team that's taking advantage this time around. And I think, though, for Furia, we saw a lot better from them last time. Was it 14 or 15? I think it was 14 kills they got in that previous game. They're up on the 19 points as things stand. You look at their position in the circle. With the terrain the way it is, and I suppose, the company they have in that northeastern side, I think Furia should at the very least be hoping to get into the placement points here as well again.
These teams are playing with fire, potentially dangerous, just hanging on the roof in the middle of a red zone. I know the best way to play around a red zone is to just pretend that it's not there, because you don't have any counterplay. Just hope you don't get hit, and most of the time you don't. But even still,
Tell that to Denmark and Martin. Poor Denmark got red zoned horribly at PNC. I don't know. I think it's one of those things that it'll happen. But Cammy, Deportivo Merlo, they're stuck in between multiple members of Pest here, and I think Pest, I don't even know which way this is going to go.
Ooh, Cam's going to try and swing on up. Doesn't quite get the angle. But a 3x on the ace could be dangerous. Battlex is there out in the woods. Deportivo Merlo is circling around, but with so much cover on these hills, I think they could get backstabbed. The trees are starting to yell out and throw knives.
Pest control, do it. Nice.
Will peek, he gets himself one. Andrew is there to trade it back instantaneously, though. As Deportivo Merlo,
I think the rest of Pest control is a little bit too far away.
Are going to close the gap onto this
Be able to
position.
help.
They know that knock, you have to take advantage, but here come Team Mira. They're not a team to pass down an attempt at a free lunch. Andrew will do a little bit of damage onto Haven as LFP gets the knock. And, well, as quickly as Mira arrived onto the scene, we've seen 2 members of Deportivo Merlo fall, and then they're completely obliterated as Blissey will get the last kill. Mira up to 3 kills already, and turning their attention on. And it's case of Mira on the wall. Who's just the frag heaviest team of them all? And it is these young Brazilians. They just impress me every time I watch them.
Their big play style is, in the early game especially, they hear shots, they go for not even a third party though, because that kind of implies a certain level of like range, that they're just overwatching it. At least that's how we traditionally think of it in PUBG. No, they will go and crash the fight and clean up all those kills. And sometimes, rarely, it means they go out early, but most of the time it just allows them to start catching and collecting kills from the very beginning of the game and snowball into such ridiculous victories that they've really been, causing us to pay more and more attention to them over the years. And so that's just another key example of that.
Are they good enough to break the mold, though, and get into the top few positions to qualify for an international event? Or do you still think that the team needs another event or two to mature?
I always thought they could do it. You never know when that ability to hold on to a lead, to hold on to a top position, is going to stick.
Mm-hmm.
So I have eyes on them now. There's no reason for me to doubt that this event is, it's not been enough.
Yeah. You got to give them credit as well, because when you think all the talk, right, building up over the year was all about Kawazine and who was going to take them, who was going to make the move. Furia were the team that picked them up. But the fact that the team hasn't skipped a beat despite losing Kawazine, like, we're still seeing Fana doing incredible things. Vixen is still popping up with kills every single time we see him. Like, I think it goes to show how good of a team it actually is when you lose a star player like that and things still continue to go the way that you would want it to. I do think the sky's the limit for them. I just want to see them, as you said, get over the line. Like, if you have a lead going into the last day, hold on to it.
Hey, easier said than done. We've seen teams time and time again who eventually become some of the greats struggle with that. It's kind of the final test, but looking in this next phase of play here, Bit of a medium shift towards the west, but it feels northern because of the water, because of the northern island that are still in play. Could see it now arrive on the northern ridge, and RBN trying to catch Yahoo's rotate, but they are not being deterred at all. They're going to keep on swinging through. The Panzer finds one. And now Jerry up in the sky.
He hits those, by the way, lands the 360. Beal and Shin get the knock as well. You know what?
All right,
get
all
one
right.
point for a kill, but I'll be giving style points for that one as well. As you see, Rock now losing multiple numbers. Looks like Flood will steal one away for Bestia. A good nade from BL. We'll find one on to Beal Frost.
He's gonna go down in a second.
Boy, as he goes through the poly tunnel, peeking out through the edge. Draft King dealing some damage onto BL. As Shinboy is avoiding, though his gun is on fire, as is his hands, but he's not taking any damage here at all.
Just a little bit of a heal. He's waiting for the push. Problem is, though, oh god, the BZ grenade. Okay, it doesn't go quite far enough. Frag grenade at the ready. The problem is teammates are bleeding out around Shinboy. Hop between a rock and a hard place. Do you go for the fight confirm, or do you go for the res? Gonna drop the smoke, wait to see if anyone does any final push before reviving at least one team, I imagine. But here the footsteps are. Shinboy's gonna stay locked into this fight. Stun grenade was teased. But it's gonna be the revive at the end.
Yeah, I like the decision to bail off the back of it, and BL, the longer he waits, the more of a problem this is going to create for himself. He's trying to get the angle. I think the player has been picked back up. BL will spot him out though when he gets the knock onto Shinboy, as one player who was at PNC will get a knock onto another. Now Cherry will step. Cherry, there's no room at the inn. You would have been fine where you were, but BL will pick up the kills. 5 for Rock.
Right.
And he will need to find some way to rejoin Santa.
Easy pickup.
There's a compound a little further to the south, but still Yahoo picking up points, a few more kills. Still second place with 2.5 games gone.
Yeah, especially with an aggressive setting like that. Very chaotic. But still a good hold for Rocky Sports on the other side of things as well to get 5 kills for themselves right now. But here is the compound that you mentioned from Syntastico. I feel like that one could be a big beacon for any other team, especially once phase 2 closes. Got 35 seconds. Toffee's showing us where the button is to really bring your teammates back. Good on Relo to help feature this new new mechanic in PUBG esports.
You know that like the community is savage, by the way. Like whenever the blue chip mechanic was brought into comp, I literally saw them saying, "Oh, I'm glad that player X is here so that he can give points to multiple player teams in one game." And I'm like, come on, chat. You got to be nice. These are the cream of the crop that we have inside the regions. But I do think that the blue chip system, it hasn't had the impact that everybody was terrified it was going to have. But it does mean that teams can play a bit more freely. It gives you more of a reason to try make a play. Like in the past, you'd have teams that would sit on the fence and they'd be like, "No, I don't want to crash that compound." Where now it's like, well, if we crash that compound and we lose a couple of players, we can always get them back in. Like, I think it gives a freedom of expression a little bit more to the more aggressive teams.
A touch. We're not seeing completely meta-changing sends anymore. Yeah. It's more about like just a 10%, a little bit more aggressive, especially in the early game. You can see the revives coming in now, and Furia still watching Alcatsia, as we saw. Looking over Team Falcons, trying to spot BL, still rotating around that one. I don't even want to call it a compound, but gathering more and more loot, probably more and more utility off of the fallen bodies of Yahoo. But we didn't talk about phase 3. Falcons are now finding themselves in dead center of it. It's not the most defensible position, but it's potentially a good one to be taking multiple fights, gathering multiple angles, and getting quite a few kills if they play it properly.
Yeah, and I think Falcons are due a good game so far today. Like normally, they'll get 1 or 2 games where they're in the double-digit points, as Alcodsia will get everybody back into position. Hopefully there's enough loot there to get fully looted and booted once more and play this game out. Furia not able to take advantage. And what we just saw there is the risk as well. You bring your teammates back in a lobby like this, usually the player's going to get... If you have no helmet, no vest, you're going to get dealt with pretty quickly. Like Alcodsia were lucky to get all boots on the ground.
How can they play up this hill? They know Furia are there. D was looking for a headshot, looking for a potential knock. I don't know if that was one that they would make a play immediately off of, but it's still more about deterrence and pushing Furia away from that angle. no one else is coming in from this angle. Furia are going to be sitting happy on the top of this hill. No reason to push, no reason to leave. We're already down to 11 teams. That opens up a lot of space this early on in the game. This could be a bit slower of a phase 3, maybe even a phase 4. But eventually, of course, the fighting is going to start again, and it's up to the teams right now to set themselves up in the best position possible. It's all about building your flowchart for where the game could go in the coming phases.
And you look at the teams like Al-Qudsi, you know, like they're playing with full freedom that they do not expect anybody pushing in from their south. So they're looking towards Furia. Like they've got no reason to not focus on this fight. The team a little bit further away, just by the fishing camp bridge, is Yin Yang. They don't really have an angle that's effective up onto the spot at all. So Al-Qudsi, as long as the circle keeps going here, are more than happy. You feel, though, that this should leave Hosan. Like, I wanted to leave Hosan because I like seeing teams try to flee that position and work on a position to play, as Mira sent a scout up. And I said that I wanted it to leave Hosan. It's kind of doubled down on that position even more.
Big chunk of it is the city. Bestia have been holding on to it for a while. That's where they looted.
It's a rough one.
Teams are going to be starting to join on.
Falcons are going to be in a good spot. Bestia is in a fine spot. Mira's in an okay spot.
Joining in from the north. And now Furia taking shots at a QAD. Both these teams need to move, but Furia look like they want to try and play gatekeeper. They want to try and lock QAD out. QAD are trying to retreat away. Could be running into a completely different squad. It's Yin Yang just only a couple of kilometers away.
And all these teams need to make their way in. Al-Qudsi managed to successfully leapfrog Furia for now, and that means that it's one more team that Furia have to worry about. They make their way inside the circle. Yin Yang is not a problem for Al-Qudsi just yet either, as they continue to move south. And, well, they might not be a problem for Al-Qudsi, but they're a problem for Furia, as damage is dealt that way, because Yin Yang need to move into the zone now as well. And, well, Al-Qudsi see what can only be described as half of a hill, and they've said, that looks fine. We can work with this for now, because I think what it does, Cammy, is it gives them access to Hosan if they need it.
MRIA trying to take some shots on a rotating Muju too. They're swinging around. Rocky Sports did group up, at least what remained of them, but Biel is still going to hold the line. I think that might have just been a Pyre Top. Oh, whoa, Pyre Top, wow.
Pyre Top.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Moving on. Lucid, okay. Might even get picked up by Enzita, but no, they're going to continue driving. Biel looking for a follow-up angle. Lucid already down to half HP because of the blue zone. The spray's not landing just yet. And now the covering fire is going to be there. Biel is going to have to back away, so I think Wujudu are going to stay as 4 for now.
I just don't know how Lucid didn't die there. The tire gets popped, you spin out, you're in the blue, you're dead to rights, but just
Biel has just nothing.
Biel has no ammo. I think he switched over to the AUG where there was 109 rounds of 5.56, but Rock have got Santa's position that they can play. Al-Qudsi are still playing on that half hill where Furia are on the other side. I remember we did point out that Qudsi could be a problem for Furia leapfrogging them in. And that tire being popped is just adding to the potential woes for Furia.
Biel's dropped low. Roth gets knocked on to Posa. Zera's still able to make it to the Rock. Grenade goes out. I don't think it's going to go far enough. Just slightly to the north where it needed to land, but the follow-up grenades are dealing some damage.
Only a little bit, though. Not really finding too much.
By Furia. Kawasu's going to have to follow through, but all out in the open. Who's to say who has a bunch of other angles? Yin Yang has some. Rocky Esports taking some knocks into MRIA.
That's why I'm just going to call them Mission Ready International Alliance, because Mira and MRIA, just my poor brain struggles. Rello, though, he's not struggling at this moment in time, dipping through the smoke, looking towards Smirzera, who's attempting to go for the res on his fallen comrade. Now, potentially dangerous. Winners of game number 2 are extending out and tossing nades over the ridgeline as Gabri will look to hold from the other side of the road, and his nade is good. It will confirm Cowboy out of the lobby. Furia back up to 3 standing with Kraken on his feet, but no quicker had I said it, Cammy, does Tony get the second knock. And this is really an all-out war for the edge of the circle.
Yeah, this is huge. Look at Gabby actually leaving Hosan to find that angle. This is the proactive play that teams like potentially dangerous for to lean on. But D's rushing forward, maybe a bit too proactive. Zera's able to find 2, not able to get the 3rd, but that is still Rello finishing Furia out, and last one up, 4 HP, barely hanging on to their life.
I think he might be able to move to another position and live a little bit longer. You're not going to get D back on his feet, so Rello will have to play all by himself. But Rello, you're driving directly towards potential danger. Seifu, on the other hand, is throwing some danger of his own towards Santa, who now has his teammate BL on board, and they'll move a little further north. That's Mission Ready International Alliance that have been crashed, and well, no sooner were they crashed than Santa will get that knock, and it should be kill number 6 for Rock at this point, and a position in the circle. But Cammy, I worry if these vehicles start exploding, that could be dangerous.
Very, very dangerous.
Hell, it just didn't have a lot of cover. That's instantly went down. Mortars are coming through. Mortars are coming in. Not quite able to land. Who's still up by Rock? I thought they only had 2 members.
Oh, they got RBN back. He's in Hosan.
RBN! They still have a member alive, so Rocky Sports are not out of it just yet. BRDM could have been swing through. Josh gun over on Seifu. And Zito's thinking that last 2 members up, and they're trying to hold on. The BRDM is starting to smoke, though. These things don't have infinite health. If you just keep shooting at it, eventually it's going to go up in flames.
Yeah, Wuju 2 don't have infinite ammo either, though, and that's a problem on their end, as Zito is going to drop, but they do get the kill, and Wuju 2 move up to 3, dealing with those pesky pest controls. And now they're coming under fire from a mortar strike from afar. But I think for Wuju 2 players alive, 3 kills on the board. But Cammy, look at that rotate. The options are not really unlimited. There's a couple of rocks that
where
they could elect to make.
They just pull a little bit farther forward.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. We saw what was, a teaser, what was to come with Alcacia's original send, and then Furia backing up. There's really not a lot to play outside of Hosan. The circle is going to fully clear, or mostly 99% clear Hosan. Bestia with the only edge of it still remaining, but mortars are continuing to rain down on the few, and I'm using this term liberally, positions in this zone.
You're not wrong. It's not the most player friendly circle, but it's definitely, I think, a fan friendly circle. The viewers at home are going to enjoy what's about to happen. That was bang on the money potentially for where he wanted it to go. But Wuju 2, they've fled, they've abandoned the safety of the rock, realizing that the mortar's making it a problem. A problem, though, could be Yakuz here for Yin Yang. He's got the level 3 gear, and he's got himself a Groza prone by the rock. And I think just enough damage has been done to PD to force them a little further back. Yin Yang, they were in a position like this in Miramar, Cammy, where they had a good bit of control on the north side of the circle, but they weren't able to capitalize. I think on both Miramars they had good positions, and now they find themselves in a good position here as well.
Not quite the high ground that we saw from game number 1 for them, but now RBN, as we said, the last member alive of Rocky Sports, crawling forward with an SMG, potentially dangerous. Another P90 in play for this team, but Yin Yang is gonna force them back. Grenades come out. That's a double P90. Is there no shame in this world anymore? But why? Because has a Groza, so maybe it's a bit more even footing than you would think.
Yeah, Yakuz will peek up again. Shots coming out, but you can see that the long grass is just not giving him the angle that he would want to get these knocks and get these kills. Back inside of Hosan, Mira working their way over towards Bestia. Remember, Mira, your lobby toppers at this point in time. Fana and Co moving closer and closer to Bestia. But they've got to remember, RBN is the Gilly in the Mist, the problem that is behind them. And he's going to watch the first vehicle go. And this is great because if RBN knows he can just stay quiet, not only will he get placement points, but he might get some kills as well.
Yeah, gotta go when the opportunity arises. At the moment, I think RBN just wants to be sneaky. Mira pushing forward. It's a huge force to make the way open for RBN to follow through. Tony with some shots onto Yin Yang. The fight is continuing still. And RBN's crawl is continuing still.
Yakuz is done. He's dusted. He's dealt with. Tony picks up another point for PD. Winners of game number 2. 7 kills so far in game number 3. As Wuju 2 are dealt with by Falcons, as those two teams always seem to draw a path. Now RBN perfectly camouflaged in the tarmac. Nobody's going to realize that that could be a player as well. Best jet were dealt with as quick as possible. Now RBN, though, elects the time to strike. He's got the placement points, and these could be potential kills, but no, Mira will deal with them as quick as possible. They do lose LFP, but with 6 teams left alive. Look at the circle. Apart from Michael on Mission Ready International Alliance, Falcons have full control of that western side.
I think they have target on Michael as well. It's going to be, now it is 100% full control. Granted, it's on the low ground. You can see where the road sits right in front of Shrimzy. It only then builds high ground up and up from there. So I think it's going to be a difficult position for Falcons to try and play around. The thing on their side, though, is that all the other teams looking to vie for Eastern control are going to be fighting against each other first, particularly Yin Yang, potentially dangerous, and Team Mira. I don't know how much of a chance Relo is going to have, but just like RBN, Relo is going to be looking for a couple of final kills.
It's like Falcons have control of the circle as much as you could potentially have in a circle. Like, this is all open terrain, potentially dangerous. They're still locking horns with Yin and Yang as those nice shots from Gabby. The double tap from the MK will find the knock onto Trisk Yappa with the ghillie. Not too camouflaged at this point in time as he steps out from either side of the tree. Yappa will deal a little bit of damage of his own as he peeks out once more. But look at Shrimzy. He's extending out. Falcons looking to garner full control of the circle. Mira doing the exact same on the opposite side of the circle as we have our top 4. Still, Relo is alive for Al-Qudsiya, but it's a 4v3v1. And if Relo just stays hidden, stays quiet, stays alive, he could get a second place.
Yeah, this is huge. Great play by Falcon to be proactive and start going for kills at this point. It's not about staying alive once you hit a top 5, top 4, especially from their position. They got a couple more kills. They're up to 7 at this point. But in a 4 versus 3, they have to have the advantage. But Team Mira know that there's another solo. Team Mira are aware that it is not just Falcons. I'm not sure if Falcons have that same knowledge.
I think that you have to do the math. You have to have read that Mira lost 1 and know there's somebody out there. But that somebody is not the problem, the clear and present threat at this point in time. It is Team Mira as those pugs just keep on pushing this way, trying to do some real damage. Relo's POV, well, it's a little bit leafy. It's not the most interesting in the world at this point in time. But the smoke wall that has just been deployed is going to give Mira the chance to push up to Shrimzy. But it's Shrimzy. He is that guy. He is that good. He is Himsy. And there's Tiggleton stepping up as well. Vixen's caught on out in Falcons now are in a 1 versus 4. It is Relo as the solo. Little bit of damage on the kick, but his position is revealed in H-Win. Come on. Oh, okay.
Wait. I was about to say, Relo might have missed the opportunity for a kill, but unable to get the finish onto H-Win. Secures second place, but it's going to be Falcons with the win. 11-kill victory. Well played end game. They got the center of the zone early on. And the name of the game is staying alive. The name of the game is activating when you absolutely need to. And they're able to get another chicken dinner. Shrimzy with 8 kills alone.
Yeah, and what I loved about that is the fact that they looked at the terrain and they were like, yeah, we controlled 80% of the circle, but what even are we controlling? It's complete open terrain. So they were like, yeah, we got to take the fight. They crossed the road. They got the kill. Full credit to Mira. They did the right thing. They smoked off the angle for H-Win, but then you're backing yourself in a fight against Shrimzy and Tig, and Shrimzy and Tig have shown why they're multiple times international champions. It's just incredible.
Absolutely.
They are incredible.
Well, it was so incredible. Let's watch it again.
welcome back. That is game number 3 done. That means we have hit the halfway point of the first day of this bad boy. Only 12 games to make the statement that you deserve to be in the top 8 that goes to the grand final. My name is Toffees. I'm joined by the Cammy D and Gibson Casts over here as we get into breaking down the action, talk about the wild card map. At the start of the last segment, Gibson, we talked about the strength of South America, and I made an offhanded joke. They're like, well, yeah, but the next 2 games, America's always comes out and gets themselves a win. And the Falcons did. Was that because they got a good spot and the circle never ran away from them, or did they play it perfectly?
They played it perfectly. Like, it's a team that, like, teams don't get fed. Unless you drop somewhere and it just constantly shifts on top of you, you have to make your own luck. They made a couple of really big decisions. They won the fights that they could have won.
Yeah.
I just think there's something about Tego and Falcons where it doesn't matter whether it's domestically, internationally. They just always seem to perform on this map. And I think it puts them in a good spot going into Rondo, where when I look at this lobby, there's a lot of teams in this list that don't really like playing Rondo all that much.
I like your point. No one gets fed. It's like I didn't get fat sitting here. I had to walk to the fridge. I think that you're right when you bring up that point. Now, you also bring up, let's talk about the standings real quick, and then we'll talk over to Rondo and sort of what that means as we get into our 4th match. Cameron, overall standings right now, Mira still dominating. You guys set that up at the start of the day. Glad to see it holding strong. But are there teams that you are deeply disappointed in and would like to kick in the crotch if you saw them live?
Bestia. Okay, whoa, okay. Sorry, I had the answer queued up. I don't before he set up the stakes. It's not like that. But Bestia are letting me down. Like I thought, Bestia are a team that it honestly feels like no matter what roster is actually under that org's name, throughout the history of this organization's involvement in PUBG esports, it's just constant ups and downs. It's the beginning of a tournament. Bestia actually, if I'm not mistaken, came back from a pretty bad start to Masters 3. And so we can always expect them to do a similar thing here. And again, also group stage, it gets eliminated. But still, I was expecting to have primetime, mime time back here again with the new addition of Flood as well. But they just aren't able to really get things started, which is frustrating. But hey, that's PUBG,
Yeah. I think there will be challenges. I do know that at PGS, language barrier in particular was a really challenge for Bestia, as mine was sort of the only speaks English. The rest of them speak Portuguese, and there was sort of a back and forth, I believe, of like, what language should we be using in sort of our daily crossover? And I imagine when Passion hits the stage, that can switch it up a little bit. So I would love to see them continue to develop with sort of having Flood on there, a little more back and forth. But I think you're right. Another team that you've said a lot about, Gibson, I want to know how you think they're doing so far, is our America's EMEA combo team. This is Mission Ready International Alliance. Are they living up to what you hope to see from the BRDM boys?
No, hold. Combo team because of Michael? Come on, Michael's played in America more than EMEA.
Hold on. Former world champion Michael. Remember,
former world champion Michael.
Respect on that name.
That's
Former
true.
world champion Michael Jordy.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I think obviously they probably were looking to go into this event planning on playing with the Bizzler, right? And the Bizzler is insane. Like I think we're all part of his fan club. But they've rocked up with Michael to this event. I thought that Michael would be a good addition. He brings a different perspective, but you're not really trading apples for apples. Like Richie B and Michael are 2 very different players. And I think it's the groups are going to be tough for them. Like, I don't know if they'll get out of groups, but I think that the 2 play days will put them in a good spot for LCQs to get ready, because you can scrim all you like, but scrims is not the same as official competition. And this is really where the team is going to cut their teeth.
Yeah, ask anybody who didn't make it to PGS if scrims were just as good during that month. Particularly. So that is true. I'm interested to see how that goes. Sure, there's only 3, one that's not from Americas, but fair. I will also say I've heard Bizzler is being told to regrow the mullet because he's stronger when he has it. So hopefully that means he'll be back into play. Another team that I am interested in your opinion on, Cameron, is Rock Esports. This is a team that surprised us all at PGS last session. PAS, they caught everybody off guard. At EWC, they started so strong and ultimately have an MVP on their team. Have they
Yeah.
been living up to your expectations here so far in the first 3 games?
So they might be flying a little bit under the radar, but I feel like
Nice.
that's kind of par for the course for Rock Esports, right? At least when it comes to the domestic competitions, you know, globals are an entirely different beast. You never really know what to expect there. But at least domestically, they almost are like it's like Mira attacks and third parties early on, and then Rock Esports is there to follow up as like the secondary punch in the overall lobby. And so they're currently in 6th place. I think that, or rather, they got 6th place in the. No, this is the overall. Sorry, I saw match 3 and I got confused for a bit of a second there. I think Rocky Sports has a lot of room to develop and grow, and the thing about them is that they are relatively consistent with the points they get. It's uncommon to see them have like 16 kill wins, but it's also uncommon to see them have 0-point games as well. And so they're just going to be a constant force. Usually you can expect them to continue to rise and like maintain a top position on the leaderboard.
All right, talking about positions on the leaderboard, I'm going to ask you about another team that's right on the cusp there. If 8 is our cutoff, remember, no one goes home. It's all about making the top 8, Gibson. What's your take on this team that I don't have tons of experience with? They're at 9 right now. They're at a position to make this shift, potentially. Deportivo Merlot. I don't know a lot of the players. I think a lot of our fan base has sort of seen some of them, but doesn't know this team intimately. Do you have any insights into what makes them tick, and do you think they can make the top 8?
Not as a team. Like, I know the players individually from like other projects and other rosters. I think my first time casting this iteration of the roster was with you, Cammy, in the third-person perspective circuit we had in the PUBG Players Tour, and they didn't actually impress me all that much. If I remember correctly, they were down around the bottom of that lobby. Like, at this point in time, they're not flashing with incredible gun skills. Now, I know that Ali has it in him to be a very good player, but they're getting good positions, and we've seen in the past, just getting good positions can get you into a top 8. It's not going to qualify you for an international event, but if they can keep these decisions in the early game that put them in good spots, you never know. You never know who can catch fire.
I mean, that's how Rock started, right? This idea of we're going to play for some positions, then we're going to get better at our sends, and then we'll get some good middles, maybe. The problem with that is I think it runs into some things we've seen with Mira in the past, Cameron, is it doesn't translate always to grand finals, closing out tournaments. You know, you gotta hope that you pull a PGS 1-17 where 4 games in a row you catch 7. You know what I mean? Like,
whoa.
That,
I thought no one gets fed. What are we talking about?
Well, I mean, they had to walk to the fridge, but let's be honest, the fridge in that tournament was not very far from them because they didn't have to do a lot of movement.
Yeah, but they put the fridge in the kitchen, so like the work was done.
Listen, if you yeah, but if you put your bed in the kitchen, you've got bigger problems. It's a good plane coming in right across.
People here lived in New York. That might have had to have been done for a while, right?
That's true.
That's all I know. That's all I know.
Whatever. You're a suburbanite now.
You get multiple rooms where you live?
That's true. I did. I missed the days, Cameron, of hearing everybody in your apartment as we prepared for shows. This is a really good plane right across the middle. Sets us up for another test track finish, not surprisingly, but I would love to see it go somewhere violent. Like, have you seen a desert up there in the Northwest finish anytime recently, Gibson?
Yeah, we've had a Ryan finish. We've had a couple of finishes on the river by Muhoban, but that's not what I want to talk about right now. You know what you kept saying about Gunners and Al-Qudsiyah? Just look at the map. Look south of the circle.
Yeah.
It just looks destined to happen.
I genuinely think I don't know why they don't like them. I feel like this is vindictive. I know T-Sock is in chat, and if he is, he needs to tell us if this is vindictive or not. It just feels that way. I mean, look at that. Right in the middle of their drop every time.
Strategy. It's a strategy. Not working for them right now, but it's a bold strategy nonetheless.
All right, I'll tell you what. I'm going to leave the game to you guys as this fight gets ready to break out, and I'm going to find their coach and find out if the Gooners hate QAP. Talk to you later.
Interrogate them like Blissey's about to interrogate. Oh, Semcro is able to confirm the kill, but gets knocked immediately after. Is this not a replay of a hot drop we've seen already?
Yeah. No. Last map. No. Was it? No, it wasn't pass control last map, but no way.
But it was
involved.
still no way. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's how you use a shotgun, Cammy. That's how you use it. A headshot gets the knock and flush. Just pass control. We'll put some lessons out, but no way down to just DNL and Lopez. This is rough. You're losing 2 players.
All right, different fight.
I'm
Let's go
gone.
on.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Suddenly, Cowboy says, "You know what? I'm sick of this." But hey, we've seen Gooners win a 1v, or almost win, rather, I should say. I forgot. T-Suck didn't actually win that final fight, but still, a solo Gooners member is nothing to take lightly, but Cowboy does not care. He's going to pull out the bolty that close range. That's how much confidence they're entering in that fight. Going back to Pest Control versus No Way. And this is looking like a pretty straightforward follow-through. Problem is, kind of climbing through Danqing, going from the low ground to the high ground, it's a bit procedural. And so No Way could find opportunities to turn this around back onto Pest Control. Those mortars under a hot drop?
But that's 2 out of the four games so far that Al-Qudsiya or Gooners have wiped each other out of the game. Like, it's happening way too often. I know that I said correlation does not equal causation, but it just happens way too often for it to be a coincidence. Now, I think this is important for Al-Qudsiya on this map in particular, because if there's one map that, having watched Al-Qudsiya all the way through the Players Tour, having watched them in PAS earlier this year, having seen Roth streams, this is the map that they just do not like. They don't perform on it. It does not suit their style of play. It doesn't suit their drop spots. For them to get 4 points early on and wipe out Gooners will really help them, because I feel like for Al-Qudsiya, they needed that on this map.
Angle held by DNL, wasn't able to get the knock, and suddenly Best Controller are backing away because of how powerful a rooftop position like that is. Being able to peek from multiple different angles, just float along, left to right, with the same ridge the whole time. Now Pest Control, they could make a decision to maybe leave from the south rather than going through all the effort of clearing out the rest of No Way. The problem is that kind of leaves reliance on the vehicles, and from the mortars alone, you can imagine that Deportivo Merlo are going to continue to try and vulture over this hot drop. So an exit is not guaranteed.
Yeah, there's no reason not to, Cammy. Like, you've got them where you want them. The zone's going to see these teams leave. Like, you've got the option to third party, or the other option is simply just gatekeep. Park on the edge of Danqing, clean them up as they leave. Like, Deportivo, we said that they've got themselves in good positions so far in the earlier maps. They could do it again. Like, they've got a decision to make here. Do you play for the circle, or do you play to pick up these points?
It's got to be the circle. At this situation, you look for the points, but there has to be a time that you make the call of the other fallacy. The sunken cost fallacy. You don't want to really fully commit into that. But I guess Pest Control just don't have a vehicle. I'm not seeing one available for them.
There usually is one, isn't there, where Karam is? Usually.
Yeah, I mean, if it says usually, I was originally going to be looking in that area, but they're sticking into the fight, so you have to... I'm going to imagine that it's just not there. Ooh, a 2x on a bolty. Okay, now it's a 4x. Boo! I was looking for a highlight play.
Still, any headshot with a bolt is a highlight play, though. Like,
yeah, but it's more sick with the 2x.
Iron sights is where it's at.
True.
You get a headshot with a bolty on a hot drop with iron sights, and you're feeling really good about yourself. Now,
ooh, I got you one better. An
okay.
M24. That thing barely has an iron sight.
My best ever iron sight one tap was with the M24. I can even tell you, apartments. Dropped on apartment's roof in Erangel and got a guy in one of the windows early on and was just like, yeah, get me out.
Yep,
Job's a good one.
Yep, that's sick. Yep, I won PUBG. I can uninstall the game.
I do have a great clip, though. I must show you someday. It's pretty impressive, but I'm a caster, so I'm not like Godspeed. I don't have a resume of playing in competitive gameplay, but I'm also not a pilot, like Dreams is doing right now as he feeds information to the rest of the team. I think that this is the one map in particular where you just see way more gliders than anywhere else.
Yeah, because there's so much ground, but it's also very visible to kind of spot down compared to some of the other maps that... It's hard to explain why, but it just feels safer to fly in Rondo. Maybe that's just placebo. Maybe that's just me making some stuff up for my own anecdotes. But it does feel just a bit more safe. As we get a little bit of overshot, a little sky cam view of a bunch of the other teams that have been hit in the center of the zone. Everyone's been rotating west. Look at the map. Al-Qudsiya are in a wide split, and there's a big field dividing the two sides. Oh, okay, here it is. Here's Karam's rotate. They're not leaving, but they're gonna try and find. Oh, spotted out. That's not good.
Gone way
I
up
think.
to the north. They did. Surely they know. Like, it looks like they're focusing towards Karam, and that should give them the information now. No, they don't.
They don't.
They have no clue. Now, this is where I think the nerf, right? If this was a couple of weeks ago, you take those shots straight away, because even if you miss one or two, you get the knock, but the RPM's a little bit lower, so you need to be 100% sure you can guarantee it. Now, Karam wishes he was the one with that 4x K9, because this would be a player dead to rights, but he just needs DNL to stay still that little bit longer.
Oh, there was a moment there, but he's just waiting for it. You also got to wait for the setup for the rest of the team, because even if you get a knock, but especially if you don't, there has to be the follow-up. There is a shot are finally coming out. The timing does work, and Karam does get the knock. DNL's trying to drop to the ground, but this should be a very straightforward finish. All up to Lopez. Oh, wait, no, DNL could still get revived.
Nope.
No, never mind. I thought he fell on like a balcony that was resable, but nah.
Well, we could play into the technicality that if Lopez flushes the rest of pest control, then he could, because you got the buyback, those blue chips, but I don't see it happening. The blue zone's going to join the party, so nobody's going to be at 100 HP from this point on, which is something to be considerate of. Nade's going to be thrown at the ready. They know exactly which building that Lopez is standing in. But elsewhere, a little further away, Collector are being pushed by Yahoo, with Shinboy will look to get the off angle.
Collector just going to roll away from that one. Pest control looking to clean up. The final rodent, the final roach that's sitting at the top of this building. Lopez, I don't know if he spotted the heads or not, but the jump shot up and over down to 66. Then the blue zone's going to slowly chip away at the rest of that. Playing it safe, though, Pest Control. They're not giving this one away. They know that it's technically only a 2 versus 1, as Karam is making a long run away from that angle that was able to open this final engagement up.
Yeah, it's just going to last for a little while longer. Another nade's going to get thrown towards the door. This time it's a stun grenade, which will give them the opportunity to push a little bit more. But
oh no,
that's not how you jump onto a balcony. But you know what? This could be genius. You walk inside, you push from inside. It was all part of the master plan as the sawn-off shot. Adlex should lead the charge. If you're the player with a sawn-off shotgun, you lead the charge and somebody else should follow up.
Ooh. Spotted now. Suddenly shots onto Lopez. Gonna try and peek over and find an angle, looking for a quick knock to turn into a kill. But Pest Controller is smart enough to give that one. Now grouping up S3. They should just flood in onto Lopez's position. Gonna pop some more meds. That has to be a boost, right? At this HP?
Yeah. Oh my god,
good
Lopez.
shot. Lopez gets one. Tries to follow up with the flush, but Karam is going to be holding the angle, and that's going to be Pest Control finally with the annihilation of No Way, but they are far away from the zone.
Yeah, and now at this point, you got to get in. It's phase 2, though, so you're not exactly in the biggest rush. Falcons have secured themselves a BRDM, which Kickstart will do a lot of scouting work for. He can very safely be the forward scout for the side, but if you see a car not too far away, you always fall back just a little bit because there's always the fear that there's a Panzer at the ready, and that's exactly what Al-Qudsi have done. They hear Falcons coming this way. Roth has got that Panzerfaust ready to fire towards Kick, and does Kick know how much trouble he could just be in? He's going to go a little bit too far away that he's not within the range of that Panzer. But while all that was going on, Al-Qudsi on this side of the dip, you've got 2 teams, 3 teams all within throwables distance of each other.
Look how open it is. Look how vulnerable so many of these players all are. What's keeping you from going on a full fight, a full push, is just seeing eyeballs, feeling like someone's staring at you, the eyeballs in the back of your head type experience. Goosebumps, really. And you know that it's going to be mime over watching all of this. If these 2 teams do break out into a fight, Mom's going to be looking to pick up 1 or 2 of those kills for their own. Gabriel, same story, same situation.
Minutes and 38 seconds gone in the lobby as all the teams should be now making their way inside the circle. H1 will jump in the other side of the vehicle. Shots coming in, though. You've gotta be very careful, because Fury are firing this way. There's Kickstart just driving right through Al-Qudsiya with no fear whatsoever of the Panzer that Roth did have. But I think that they've just decided, get on board. We don't really need this fight. We don't need this position. Maybe we could wrap on the other edge and catch out the members of Al-Qudsiya, so it's worth keeping an eye on that potential flank on the other side. But, Cammy, as I look elsewhere on the map, we spoke about Deportivo Merlo and their decision-making. They've actually got themselves a nice little spot down towards the southeast.
Well, with a couple of those seconds left on phase number 2, we'll see if it becomes put in a position to play out of for them. Where are we going to go? It's going to be a pretty hard shift over to the east. This is great for Al-Qudsiya and Falcons. Falcons already grouping up there. You see in the fields closer towards the center, but they might be turning around with this shift. Problem is, now suddenly they're going to be even more vulnerable, more threatened because of the high ground positions around the edge of the zone. Going to make cover in the center that much more valuable. Al-Qudsiya, they don't look to be wanting to move at all. But Falcons are going to try and position themselves in the middle of this rice field. Kind of take on the potential swarm of teams coming in from the west.
Yeah, this 2-2 split from Al-Qudsiya right in the center of the circle. This is a map that we know that they're not too keen on, but they might be able to make something happen. Mira getting shots fired upon them by Mission Ready International Alliance. What is it Mission Impossible for? Mission Ready International Alliance, as they hold that spot up towards the northeast or northwest of the current circle. Bestia holding that spine ridgeline as... I can only imagine that Kick got stuck somewhere. The only reason I can see for H1 knocking Kick is if he got stuck and you needed to move him out of a position to get him back on his feet.
Yeah, we just don't worry about it. Just keep playing, keep moving on. Cherry Vibes trying to defend this western edge, hanging on to the edge. And this garage is probably the most vulnerable position, I think, in this compound. That's going to be the place that teams are going to be looking to crash to find the initial foothold into the fight. Granted, this early on in the game, I don't think teams are going to be going for full commitments, full sends like this. And Mira especially are going to be looking to avoid that right now. In fact, Collector, they're setting themselves up to pounce on the caravan of Team Mira. Not going to go for the shots just yet. They're waiting for the final cars to swing on by, but Mira make their way through safely.
Yeah, for Earth will be the last member to spot them going past, and he'll just focus on getting into the circle because Collector have to do the exact same thing. They now need to breach the zone as well and find somewhere that they can play for themselves, as all these teams are all potentially going to play on the same ridgeline that Deportivo Merlo are looking to make a home of their own. We've got spoken about Falcons. They've got a great spot here. Shrimsy's just set up a shield by the window, which gives them some cover. And speaking about pushing in, LFP from Mira gets that opening knock on the Deportivo Merlo, and this could be Mira opening themselves up an avenue into the zone.
Mourner's Landing, trying to go for Falcon's position. Keep playing with the BRDM. The fight between Mira and Deportivo Merlo, though, is popping off in the kill feed. Fana, Haven, both get knocks of their own. Both really coming out as the star players for this squad. And they're continuing to deliver, continuing to put up the numbers as Fakeson gets revived.
Mortar strikes landing directly on top of the vehicle that H1 was using for cover, but thankfully for H1 he wasn't inside as Shrimsy gets a knock of his own footage. That's a good angle in towards Collector, and there's no way that they see him at this early stage. Now, both shots are fired, both shots are missed. Second time of asking, he will deal a little bit of damage on the Dreams, but it's just going to be so hard to spot him. Now, Hazel will eventually see him and does 28 damage as a rebuttal, but that tire's popped, that vehicle's stuck, and this is all happening outside the circle.
Water.
Like, the blue zone's going to come in and it's going to hurt.
Yeah, hard shift over to the east, hard shift back to the field that Falcons actually just fled from. Potentially dangerous. Al-Qudsiya are going to be holding strong, at least for now, until they get crashed by a couple of different teams. It's going to be a C4 play coming in, looking to get rid of Collectors. It doesn't make it far enough. And they hear
No, it
the
does.
beeps, and it's a 1-for-1 trade. Psycho almost goes down. Not a completely unsuccessful C4 play, but Yoho gonna have to follow up with an old-fashioned ground push.
And Cherry is actually underneath that flipped vehicle as well as things stand, as the Coupe going to give him a little bit of cover from the flush. Dreams with a links up on top of the roof, gets the knock on to Punage, but Jappa is going to spot out Shinboy, which is going to deflate this push just a little bit. The res is pulled off onto Hazel. Even though he's going to get dropped straight away, you're still denying a point on the other side. As I think Balefrost will eventually pick that one up for himself. Now holding for Earth. He's using those boxes for some cover. Dreams is down, so he's the only player for Collector with a chance.
Oh, what
That's
a
the
nade.
good he had tossed on over Shinboy. He's going to go down to the blue as well as he tries to take someone to the grave, but he is going to fall. Yahoo
Two players going down to the blue zone.
But I still don't know how Collector.
But it was to the blue zone, so
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough.
it's okay.
Falcons to continue to hold on themselves. Kickstarts rotating around with the BRDM, trying to gather some information, but also just pick up your teammates and just sending it into the zone. Shrimsy's still left, but Rocky Sports just gunning it.
Yeah, are they gonna leave Shrimsy behind? No, they're gonna go pick him up.
I can see it now. Here is their time to shine. Here is another defense opportunity for them. Panther out! Doesn't quite hit! And Cowboy and D chiming in with knocks of their own.
Yeah, this is looking a little bit better again, but Roth, you want to get led inside the building as Cowboy going to arrive here as well, but RBN will knock him down as soon as they arrive. Santa now, the last player standing, and Rock are dealt with. Roth picks up the kill, but when one team's gone, another one will arrive. Here is Ying Yang. Roth will get the first aid off. Rello will get dealt with on the other side as D looks to step out and makes a big play. The MP5 will find one, but it's all down to the veteran, Roth. He gets another knock of his own. Kane steps out as well. A double for Roth. He's got one more to deal with. Jumping through. Roth gets it done. 11 kills for Al-Qudsiyah. They might not get the win, Cammy, but they've got double-digit points at a minimum.
This is what you love to see. Rob holding on. In a final 1 versus 3, knowing how to play to limit.
Just, like, I want to know what this is. I want to know if it's possible.
For them so far. It's been an interesting path for them in this game.
Like, I feel like it should be, you know?
Still have a BRDM that's still quite healthy. No one's really put
I'm
shots
curious
in that
about
thing
it.
yet. That's going to give them some interesting tools to play with. As Collector, they do go down, are able to escape from the blue.
The full crash. Here we go. Mira and Falcons.
Curious about it, and I want to know.
Go
Ooh.
head to head, but it's Haven and Fana that draw first blood. Kick will step aside now. Haven will make a lot of noise. He's the last bit. It's a heist.
He stole it.
It's a heist. He has stolen the BRDM, and he is going to try to run them over. But Haven is like, you know what? Thank you very much, kind sir. I'll take this BRDM, and I will get her to dodge. And that could be important going into later on in this game, depending on if that bus is still usable for the Falcons.
Looks like it might be starting to smoke. Falcons had the exact answer of just laying bullet after bullet after bullet into that thing. Just deal damage. Just deal damage. It'll eventually go up in flames. Lizzie goes down, and Zeta gets a kill there. And yeah, there it is. VRDM no longer usable outside of a relatively okay piece of cover.
It's a great piece of cover, honestly.
Out in the field. You'd want a little bit more cover than this, especially with 3 members of Falcons. Looking at you for revenge, a nice little tap shot.
Oh, and he was able to get Tiggleton too with a couple of shots.
I still think that was Haven's best play. You know, you're in that situation, there's 2 members of Falcons up, they've just spotted you out. Take the BRDM. Just get out of there. See if you can eke out a couple of extra placement points. You've got 44 so far through, this is the 4th map on the night.
I mean, Shrimsy just got shots on him.
Inside the top 8. Now, realistically, I think Roth is going to be fine for another little while. I don't see Mission Ready International Alliance pushing into that compound. I think Kara, there's what, 3 solos, Cammy? 4 solos? Mimes there, Roth's there, Haven, and Karam.
Oh, I think he hit the edge of the bus.
The point is,
Blown up bus has been connected with.
how many more points?
Unfortunately, not super useful.
Everyone's eyes are glued onto this player. We've seen clutches before. But Shrimsy just keeps jump spotting out. Hatch of Haven maybe runs out in the open to go for a trick play. Has yet to get knocked by that arm. Now, once again, everyone's just waiting for the next phase. The next circle shift to reveal relatively center. Slight nudge to the east and the south. but mostly it's just really
So Haven's spot's
poor
gonna be
pitches and
playable.
dangerous.
Falcons getting over there
That height from
is...
Haven's looking a little bit better again now, isn't it, Cammy? As he finds himself inside the circle, and Falcons have now been evicted. Falcons, of course, I think that the bus will have, even if the tires are popped, you'll get yourself moving as another headshot has landed, or at least a body shot has landed on the other side towards
Yeah, if it was a headshot, he would have been
15
knocked. Come on.
rounds left of those 300 mag inside the AWM, and he's wondering if he can maybe land just a few more onto Falcons, because the big thing here, Cammy, is even if these shots aren't getting knocks, you're breaking helmets, you're breaking vests, you're making an investment in the
You're
future.
actually not, because I'm pretty sure Kickstart had,
Messi gets eliminated, down to 7 teams,
had
and
the
oh,
ability.
Two, they hit a rock, and they start spinning out. No one's taking advantage of it just yet. They're able to find the center island, the center of Hilltop, but the cover is oh so limited. They have to even set up their vehicles as a car fort. There was a knock towards the Falcons, though. That revive should come in easy enough, but the blue has started to close. They're going to have to start to smoke tunnel their way out.
And they're smoking directly towards Haven. Roth is
I mean, I
making
think
his
that's their
move into
best
the
play.
circle as there's 7 teams left alive now, and Haven's going to bring the fight towards the Falcons. The question is, does he have any utility? We'll keep an eye on the kill feed for that one as Haven tosses the stun. 3 angry birds pushing their way to the fight. Haven will underhand the nade inside the smoke. He deals a bit of damage onto everybody, but not enough onto anybody to find a knock in the engagement. Going to peek around once more. The rock is his friend. Shrimsy's nade only finds 5 damage. Haven, he's going to get into this battle. The swing around the other side. Kickstart gets the kill. Falcons deal with Mira, but by stealing the vehicle, Haven got an extra point by getting into the placement points here.
Yeah.
But Cammy, look at how good of a spot Wuju 2 have in the middle of the circle.
I will see. The cover didn't look great. They might just start getting peppered on multiple sides. At the moment, though, potentially dangerous are distracted by Furious push in from the north. So it's a little bit of a reprieve, but Michael now swings in with a Panther.
Oh!
He's knocked by Seifu, and then Roth's drop grenade set as a landmine.
Holy.
Right, eliminated.
Roth's still alive as well at this point in time, so you've got another couple of points on the board. Al-Qudsiya with 12 kills so far here on Rondo and a position inside the circle. Falcons still with 3 up, 3 kills to themselves, but just as I said, 3 up, 1 gets put down by Gizera as Falcons all the way, or from all the way in the upside of the circle, lose 1. Furia as the zone will shift over.
That's rough for
And
Falcons.
once more, PD with a prime position as we move into the late game.
Only 1 kill.
Yeah, I mean,
Challenge for
we're
them
gonna
is
have to
pick
see.
up as many as they can at this moment. If it is the case that they just have fewer kills because they were playing safe, that needs to switch up now. This is the time to play not just for the chicken dinner, but to get as many kills while you're at it. And eyes on Furia. They know Furia got to rotate into them. They have a little bit of a ridge line, and of course an MG3. They don't seem very confident from that angle. They seem really worried about Falcons or Wuju too. Something tentative about the way they're moving around that makes me a little less confident.
Yeah, I think that at this point, that they're just not
Okay,
willing
Furia
to give up the ridge
moving.
line. Like they're weighing
Maybe,
up their
no.
options, the pros and the cons. Like, yes, we could deal with Fury and secure the northern border, but what happens if we take a knock? What happens if we lose this position and it gives someone like Wuju 2 the little bit of push and shove they need to move away? Now Falcons have set up a checkpoint here on the other edge of the circle as Shrimsy will put down that shield, and as we said with the BRDM, shots will destroy that shield.
Kickstart, let's go.
Okay. Oh, behave yourself.
Oh, Shrimsy did unfortunately nade himself when he got knocked.
Posa running over Gizera.
Multiple knocks for Kraken. But they also start to fall. Posa has been killed. Kawazin's been killed. And Zito's the last one up. And here comes Roth! Following through, backfilling the fight. And with a C4 to try and clean things up. Unfortunately, Roth goes down before Furia does. Ends in 5th place. But you have to respect the idea. You have to respect the attempt. But look at Falcons now. They've given a little bit of a lifeline. Only 2 members up, but with all the chaos in front of them, they have a way to find a position into the zone, but Gabby's going to try and stop one of them, doesn't get the knock.
So Falcons end up finding 2.
That's what it's all about, and potentially dangerous are in a 4
Fine,
versus
okay.
2 against the Falcons. Falcons looking to go back to back, potentially.
But it's up
dangerous,
against Falcons
hoping
at
to
the same
find their
time.
Second win of the game, but the problem, as you can see, Falcons HP isn't in the best position at all. Now, whether or not they can find some more meds in the crates, which I think they've just done, maybe some nades as well, this fight ain't done. Like, I would, even if it was 4 for Falcons against 2 from potentially dangerous, it is not over until it's over. Falcons will look to isolate individual players, create 1 versus 1s, and if they get a knock or 2, you never know what could happen.
Ooh, Falcons all the way up in first place, tied with potentially dangerous and Mira. 45 apiece for all the teams. So the real question is, who's going to end up where after this?
Making sure that it doesn't slip away, but you never know. With Tiggleton and Kickstart,
Also, why is the leaderboard glitching out for spot 6 and 7?
Well-placed headshots could completely change the game. Utility, as you mentioned, that was going to be the big question. What tools does Falcons have? Has there been any utility that they could find?
Well, there's a nade. We got 1. His Kickstart has that in his back pocket. He's going to throw that over the ridge line. But as you can see, there was no return on that investment whatsoever. Another nade has been tossed. Only 21 damage being found as this is Falcons' Hail Mary. This is their play to try to blow this game wide open. And unfortunately, much like the Cowboys last night, they throw the ball and nobody's there to catch it on the other side. Yeah, you heard me, Poro. I know you're listening back home. No, I'm not even an Eagles fan, but I still had to get that dig in there. But PD, 5 up for them. And, well, oh my God, Tiggleton and Kick. There's a double. There's the 1-2. And now
So now it's
chance.
just 2v2.
There's the opening. But look at that, Tony with the immediate answer. Puts Kickstart into a 1 versus 1. Kick could go for the revive. Tony has been weakened. Has to stall back and heal just for a moment. But already back up on his feet. Kickstart spotted out. A little bit of damage. Now Tony with the full send over. They don't let it fall away from them. They confirm the chicken dinner. Only 7 kills. But hey, second win of the weekend. First team to hit 2 chicken dinners here in the group stage.
Hey, you can get a ton of kills and no win and still get less points. So those 2 wins, 20 points in the bag from placements alone. You're going to take that every single time. And this is the thing about potentially dangerous. They are the definition of a streaky team. They get hot. They will win a bunch of maps on a day, but they'll go home. And then tomorrow they'll come out and it'll just not work for them at all. So they need to find a way to raise that floor up because they are a really good team. I just need to see more from them.
Yeah, well, we have a lot more to show you guys. We've got 2 more Erangels coming up, but first, let's see the highlights of Rondo as we set up for the very next game.
Boom. All right. Finding kills. Oh, they almost didn't get that one either.
An excellent game comes to an end as the wild card matches move on. Potentially Dangerous proves they are just that as they come out with a second chicken dinner. Though it's not.
Yeah, I feel like they need to swap their name from Potentially Dangerous at this point because I feel like they've proven that they are dangerous. Time and time again.
Potentially dangerous to get their second win on the night. Like, they're doing an incredible job of trying to get directly into those quarterfinals, or those quarterfinals, into those the
Quarterfinals.
actual group final stage. But
Group
I'm looking at that game.
finals.
I said Alcudsia don't like Rondo, right? They'll openly tell you they don't. So for them to get 16 points here off the back of just huge individual plays is going to be really good for them. Like, look at Roth. He owned it inside that compound.
Yeah.
He did, but that's also one of those questions, though, Cameron. Like, would it have been a typical Rondo for them if they hadn't?
Let's go,
gotten
Roth.
stuck in the blender, like that Western blender handed so many points. Like, they had to fight for it, but it wasn't because they made a good rotation choice, right? It was like chaos came to them.
Oh yeah, no, they were not expecting the zone to come their way. They certainly weren't positioning with the expectation that it was going to happen. But now I'm just catching potentially dangerous now suddenly in first place. Gibson, we knew that this was a team that always had the ability to, deal some massive damage. But first place, I know it's only been 4 games, but this is a bit unprecedented.
And
Yeah,
they are
like I said, they're streaky though.
beasting
Like,
it.
the 2 wins gets them that position. I'm impressed by what I've seen, but they have flattered this. They've got my hopes up too many times in the past by doing this and then not quite getting it done. But the only difference is, normally potentially dangerous get hot at the end when they're already kind of out of contention. This time they're getting hot at the start.
All right. Well, I want to make sure
Maybe
you
that
guys
could
get
be
a
good.
second to take a break if you need to. Real quick, couple minutes till the next game starts. We're gonna finish on the grassy pastures, so don't go anywhere.
Close my eyes.
Every time I close my eyes.
Welcome back. The wild cards are done, and we prepare to head into the grassy pastures for the final 2 games of the day. When this is over, the first 6 games of the group stages have been cataloged. The A and B groups will be done, and 6 of the 18 games to qualify will have been played. What that really means, though, Cameron, is for some of these teams, they are halfway through the journey to get to that next stage. And that is a very big deal with how much is on the line with
Halfway.
PBS and the new system. 3 games in, there's a couple of teams that have really sort of left me wanting so much more.
I know. But hey, listen, we have a shot. They have a shot, rather, not me. I'm sitting here pretty. I ain't got to do with any of this. I just got to watch and be amazed at the good stuff and try to ignore the bad, right? But that means that there is another shot tomorrow, and if they can pull out some really, really good numbers and put themselves in a better position, it's all okay. I think the real saving grace is that no one gets eliminated. If you want to take this as a warm-up, I wouldn't I don't think any team is going to come into group stage with that as the plan. But if you struggle in the first couple of rounds, then I think it's important to say, you know what, let's like not get stressed out about this. Let's just try and warm ourselves up and get ourselves into a good position, feeling good coming last chance qualifier. And you know what, if something miracle happens and we do end up getting top 8 at the end, then great.
Well, things are a little different, so you do have to leave a little bit of runway here, Gibson. As we head into game number 5 of the day, we're 4 games in now, and when I say different, it's because the live patch is here active in esports. When you talk about the DMR changes, some of the I think that was the biggest one when you talk about the patch notes. For the most part, removing the canted site's not going to affect anything. Reducing the red zone time has not been that big of an impact. But after 4 games, do you feel like the DMR impact is starting to be noticeable, or does it still feel like you're watching the same game?
It's not as big an impact as maybe people would have feared, but it is still having an impact. Like, we're seeing some long-range fights where teams are not engaging until they're guaranteed 100% knock. Like, you're not seeing those incredibly quick spammed guns, you know, quick fire, rapid fire shots that you would see in the past, but it's a change, and it is.
I feel like we're not seeing.
I wanted to talk to you more about the.
I feel like we're not seeing the same
on why I think Erangel's gotten a bit
diversity that we saw before.
We're just gonna let's pivot to Erangel stinks. Go ahead.
Yeah. No. I don't know. What I was going to say is, I think that the bigger issue is that because this map is so long in the tooth, like everybody knows it, everybody knows everybody's drop spots. These players can close their eyes and you can show them a map and teams and say, right, 15 minutes who's where, and they'll correctly get it right 95% of the time, which means they can set up to gatekeep and get kills a bit easier because of how predictable the map can become.
Oh, big hot drop happening up here in Severity. Goodness with a really good send on the forward to get the full on clear. They lose one of their players in the meantime, but should be able to get an easy enough revive there. Now they have a good position to sort of face off the rest of the squad through. And as we saw with the zone being all the way up to the northwest. Sorry, northeast.
You want to treat?
This is not a bad position to sort of pivot off into a nice position around Stalber.
Boop.
So here's my question as we hit a bit of a standoff. Gibson, go along with what you just said. Does that mean, I understand what you're saying because they've played so much time here. If that's capable, if you can do that, does that mean that not being able to do it on the other maps just means you're easy? Oh, look at that spray!
No, I just think it's so much easier to do because everybody does the same thing over and over and over again.
I see what you're saying. It's not research driven, it's just that you've seen them so many times and everyone's got habits. Okay.
Hey, Kitty. Are you comfortable there?
Cameron, how's the fight?
Yeah, look at that. You have your own keyboard.
Great. Dream's looking for a knock, unable to find it. That really would have been the key to try and get back into this fight, but I think the res is going to happen.
Put the keyboard over there for you.
The last
all
run
for you.
By the simple man. Defending the team from the collectors.
I'm upset though, Cammy.
Yeah?
I'm upset. He said even if they qualify for PGS, he's done. He's not going. He said it's his last hurrah in esports.
Wow,
really? This is, yeah, this has got me sad. Like, I'm a massive Matt fan. I think that mechanically, he is actually cracked, but I suppose when he does have 435 kids, that you can't really afford to be going away.
Not to mention all the keypads he has to constantly wash over and over.
Oh, God. We love Matt, though, just to confirm. I'm a big fan. Coffee's left on the back of that as well, by the way, because you reminded him that he had kids as well. He was like, I better go save the
like, oh, God! Oh, no! They've been waiting at school this whole time.
Why do you do this to me?
His old dreams.
Is that where you're going? Okay, bye.
This fight. Can I see Flex answer on back and T-Sock the 4x on the Vector.
Oh, Kitty. Oh, Kitty.
But it can work if you know what you're doing with it. Psycho strikes. Peeks out from virtually nowhere. Gets traded, but still cleaned up a kill in the meantime.
I see Flex from the side.
Leaves it all down to Dreams. One team, one dream. Well, at this point, it's just one dream on the team at this point in time, as Icy going to be the target for this nade. It's going to get cooked and thrown. But Icy, hearing the window pop, knowing what was going on, closing the distance to make sure that he's not at risk of falling at the nade. Now, a big problem he has is no helmet. He is completely bare in the head, which means that any form of
Using
shot
the scratch
going
and
this way is going to cause
post.
a problem. But here is the reinforcements now. Dreams is there. They're going to try to play the trade. Matt's going to jump up. Dreams gets one. But that's exactly why you play the trade. You get the res. You'll get your other teammate up. That was well played.
Absolutely. And now we look back onto Rock Esports, who are bridge camping. Bridge camping Deportivo Melo, who were able to make their way across the eastern bridge from Sosnovka Island. Now taking, of course, the Milta beach path, and Cunage strikes. Watching that hot chop, everyone's been rotating every which way. We're trying to catch up on where people have all tried to land. It looks like Alcacia, at least in this particular fight, is coming out on top, but Shimboy's rushing forward. M249 puts D in the dirt.
Gets a
Old
second.
teammate's gonna get shut down still. And now it's a one versus two, rather. Balefrost now speaking from the opposite side.
And there we go.
And that's it.
I'm not sure as to why when Shinboy walks up with the M249 and gets that knock that nobody seemed to react to it. Like, they just kept running towards the trench. I was thinking, oh, well, somebody just killed their teammate on the bunker and got that knock. Like, there wasn't a lot of situational awareness in that.
I agree with that.
They were more focused on the player who was downhill a little further away, but Alcudia have been dealt with. Yahoo picking up some kills, and
4th place right now for them, though.
Day this has been for Yahoo so far. 28 points. We've not seen this
They're doing
roster
okay
together in a while. It broke my heart when Punij and Shinboy split up for a little while, but having them back together, seeing the Yahoo badge, seeing the team in, I get nostalgic when I see them in the mix.
But they're sitting in 6th place right now, so they're not doing too bad.
Sports running away from the red zone. Kind of driving in tandem with Deportivo Melo as T-Sock and Gooners does get blue chip revived. Gonna land over in Lipovka. I imagine Rock and DM, I don't think they're gonna be spotting this parachute come down. They're busy with their own rotate, busy trying to get into the zone. This should give T-Sock
It's still
some
right there.
freedom to loot on up. The problem is grouping up with the rest of the Gooners who are all the way on the north.
Deportivo Melo rotating in there, just going past Mansion, which is completely vacant, but I think it's just too far south for them to want to play that position. They're a team that don't like being in and around the edge, Cammy, based on what I've seen. They want to get somewhere.
That's gonna be a player
close
down.
to center circle, but they might not even be able to do that now as a tire's been popped. This is as free as it gets. RBN is going to find one. Zello's the second to fall.
And he just waits.
Well, that patch earlier this year that massively reduced the reversing speed still didn't really have much of a difference there, Cammy, to be honest.
No, but you take those kills, you clean it all up in Rocky Esports.
Them.
Again, they get bit by bit, piece by piece, and bam, suddenly they're in the top position. Granted, right now they're hanging around the center, but look how tight that is, as you can expect of this being only round number 5. But teams only have 12 rounds. It's not even a full best of 18 per team. It's 18 overall, but you sit out for 6 of them.
And it's the point too, Cammy, where it's essentially 2 different lobbies as well. Like, the 6 maps that you play today are not going to play out like the 6 maps you play tomorrow, because it's going to be 8 new teams that are going to join the fray, and that does have a material impact on how these lobbies play out.
Okay, Karen with a nice knock and a full kill onto Lopez. Now Sam Crow's gonna have to defend against the rest of Pest Control because there are teammates not far away, but the angle isn't great for support. So Sam Crow's gonna be looking to drive away. Is able to make it down that hill. Is able to make it down that hill. Okay, I think he's able to make it down the hill. Covering fire should also be enough.
A little close, a little close.
Let's go for a clip shot of all clip shots. You better have your recording software on. Okay, Sam Crow's fine. They're good. They lose 1, but they still stay as 3. No lean's not a bad position. It's just having the 2-2, I think, would have been very, very valuable, but Pest Control come in and steal that away.
But even holding no lean as well with the blue chip in that position, if you do get crashed or you lose players, it's an instant revive or recovery without having lost any players. So that'll be fine. Yahoo, they're making their way in here as well towards the very north as they head towards Kameshki, the only team that's gambling on the circle going that far north. And, well, Mission Ready International Alliance, they're as close to center as you can realistically get.
Mission Ready International.
And
I feel like they could have just gone MRI. They didn't even
I
put
would
Alliance
say
in
I
there,
want the
so
Pesky Stalber finish. I love finishes up right.
they could
Stalber
have
in those
kind of
builds.
just not had to deal with that
The circle
and just
relatively
gone
center.
mission
We haven't seen
ready.
it on the main feed yet, but again, if
I'm
you
a
open up the map
mission
on the second one,
ready.
their second device, it centers up around. Yep, exactly. Mission Ready International Alliance. They are now looking really, really, really good. It's not often that you see a team that wins from this spot, get a bunch of kills, but it is a relatively safe position. And so I think MRIA, especially considering that they've been struggling a couple of rounds so far today, are going to be looking for a more straightforward path to take into this game. Was that Toffee's guess on the next zone, or did he just try and hit the surround and miss?
No. He's probably just playing around with it. You know, he's done it a few times tonight. I don't know if the viewers have caught it, but it's caught my eye a few times when he's done some drawings for us or added players to teams without us noticing down in the bottom left of the screen. But that's why we love him. As Mime here. You know what? Is this the longest? I don't even want to say this being mean, but is this the longest we've had all 4 players from Bestia up in a game so far tonight?
Yes.
Oh, you're back. Hi.
Listen, okay, I just want to... The circle doesn't go where I thought it was going to go. I've been trying to be helpful. It starts at the mouse pointer. I learned now. I love you guys. And Bestie is doing well.
Thank you, Toffees.
Toffees.
You've
Right,
no
so-
idea how badly he wanted to come in to say that, by the way. Like, he was begging to get in just to
That's
be like,
not true.
"Can I
You're
apologize?"
making it up.
No.
I think he
I'm
was
on the
muted
screen.
again, but he instantly started to defend himself.
Because you said I was not trying with the drawings. I'm trying my hardest. Want to add value. See? People there.
Gosh.
I don't know what's going on.
Oh my god, this is great.
America series.
I love
don't
this.
think we can blame PUBG for this, actually.
No, it's the PUBG America series, so we can literally blame the crew. I think fine. The crew being me, you, and Toffees, by the way, not the wonderful people that make everything
Behind
work
the scenes. No, we're not talking about that. This is how Cammy
Right,
casts.
so-
Out of that hole yet, or am I digging deeper? I don't know.
I'm just looking away. Back to the game.
This
Everyone's
is
rotating
hilarious.
around. We saw a little bit of action up in Stalber.
This is pure entertainment.
Team Mira, they might have lost one, but they're not out of the fight yet. Looking for Rock Esports, looking to try and pick up some points wherever they can. Grenades go out, a little bit of damage onto BL. Fakeson realizes how, thanks Toffees. Fakeson realizes that the trajectory is good through a second one out, but still unable to find the flush.
Haven closing the gap as well, but the Gunners, as we know, are not a team to shy from a fight. They're all stacked up on the other side of this ridge line, and Bunt is there to knock him down. And they'll go for that instant flush. Fakeson is still alive. LFP up on top of that satellite array. And yeah, there's the X marks the spot. That's where we lost Haven in the midst of all that action. LFP, he's on the roof, and Icy seems to have a pretty good idea of where LFP is going to play. And well, Bunt is going to try to send a Hail Mary up on top of it to try catch another player. But it's LFP who's got a rebuttal of his own. He gets that knock and flush. And he's just too far. That nade was close, Cammy. That nade was a couple of inches away from being perfect.
It happened.
Very tricky to try and defend this whole position, but I think Mira, they've lost their second lost member at least. I think shouldn't have happened. A bit of an unforced error, almost completely forgetting about the Gooners. But look at this circle. It's going to continue to favor MRIA. And now Mira just looking to try and fall away. Getting in the front of Gooners, getting into a vehicle, and then trying to go to the low ground. But the question is, where in the low ground can they go? You're going to start to hit the soft terrain. Natural terrain is probably a better term for it. But as we know, the cover is a bit precarious.
Where are they gonna go?
Mira looking to find themselves a position in the circle as strong as Mission Ready International Alliance have at this point in time, as Rock will see T-Sock moving on by. This is, of course, a position where Rock are not going to play their cards just yet. They don't want to give away their position because as far as they're concerned, Gunners are oblivious to the people that they've got living just next door. Circle, as you pointed out, has centered up. You've still got no way inside of no lane at this point in time, but Posa will get a knock onto PD. And looking at the map, that is just peeking down or peeking up from Yaz. to the warehouse just south of Stalber.
Shinboy here looking for another angle. They came in from Kameshki. They know there was a fight that happened up here. They can pick off a kill or two. They already have 4 from Alcacia. If they can pick off even more, that's going to make this game really solid.
4.
And it's still only phase 3. Setting a trap. They don't want to leave Stalber just yet.
That's it with a big knock, and there's always said they weren't going to give away their position until they were guaranteed some results. They get the knock and flush onto Icy, and that leaves simply Matt inside of Stalber. Now, Yahoo have taken the ground inside of the north side of Stalber as well, so we have 3 teams all playing on this precarious position right on the edge of the circle. Yin Yang are a little bit further south. They're attempting to hold anybody who could push down from this position. But, like, I'm waiting for this next shift, Cammy. It's only a few seconds away, and, like, do we go back towards Yaz? Do we hard commit onto the warehouse that Mira or that MRI are playing? It's so hard to tell.
Push up, M249 lying at wait. Doesn't get a single knock though, but Matt's there for the exchange.
Oh my god, look at how much damage Matt did though.
That's going to be a Ho picking up 2 more kills for themselves. Gunus get eliminated. You see MRIA and Bestia getting a bit of trouble in the kill feed. And it's going to center up on that position once again. So yes, Mission Ready International Alliance are still going to be staying pretty inside of that nice warehouse structure. Going to start to get some more pressure, especially the teams coming in from the north. But this could be a solid game to sort of turn their fate.
Look at Yin Yang at this point in time. They're bringing the fight now to Potentially Dangerous, who have started today in incredible form. Their groups
MRI.
have been phenomenal. 2 wins out of the 4 maps we've played so far, and 4 players up. But the question is, how much longer can you do that in a position like this? Most of the traffic, as you said, Cammy, we focused on the north, but you've got to deal with Yin Yang before you can even think further inside the game. Jappa's got a nade at the ready, and the train works against Potentially Dangerous because all these little funnels in the rocks flow the nades directly towards where PD are playing. So they've got to stay alive because you know for a fact that if somebody gets knocked, do not be surprised if Michael or Snakers get a little bit tempted to peek out to pick up some points of their own.
They probably are already looking, to be fair.
Climbing up this hill is going to be very difficult. Because you're right, you got to be focused on the fight that you're involved with, but be aware of all the angles and all the lines of sight that you need to keep locked off. You can see Yin Yang, it's like they're riding on a thread, how much space they actually have to work with. Same thing with Potentially Dangerous. Gabby was trying to peek on over. Head was shown for a brief moment. As we peek into Yahoo, who are starting to slowly approach. This is where the concern for MRIA starts to come in because, yeah, sure, they're in the center of the zone. They have some nice hard cover, but it is quite widespread hard cover and a lot of angles. And if a team like Yahoo decides to suddenly send it in and steal one of those warehouses away, MRIA have to be immediate to react to it.
I'm looking a little on the map feed as well, and well, Falcons and Team Mira have just been magnetized towards each other all night, and they could potentially be about to lock horns themselves further north. Vinny, over by, as they leave Nolene to move up onto the hills, will catch Seifu from Wuju 2. They were leaving Yaz, working their way up around the bend of that lake, and just as I mentioned, Falcons and Mira, well, it looks like there's going to be the first throngs of war. The first gunshots have been fired. Shrimsy lands a headshot on the Fixin, but Fixin gets back into cover.
Barrage is strong. At the very least, it opens up the entryway for the Falcons. LFP goes down.
There they are. They are in there.
Off against Falcons, but shot in the back. Deeper Mira, there really wasn't a lot of space. Tia Mira, they do go down. Still third place at the moment, but this gives an opening for teams like Yahoo and Yin Yang to close that gap and maybe even overtake them as we head into the final map of AB lobby setup.
This up in the north as well. Yahoo, we're never going to fight, but sticking on your screen, Vinny is going to spray down. Doesn't get the knock on the Lucid. Now, down on the other side, Wuju 2. Looks like they're going to lose another. Seifu has now been dealt with, and I think that Sneak will be following him pretty soon. Tiggleton looking to third party as well. Deportivo Merlo dealt with. Now you focus that long range red dot spray over towards Cherry. He's running down through the open. Tig just not quite hitting the shots that he needs to.
Then they immediately spot out Rock.
Because Rock are the threat. They're the ones with a line of sight onto your position at this point in time. And while
I'm still surprised like Tiggleton didn't swap to like a 4X or something to try and do that spray.
It just overlooks where the warehouse position is.
Here comes the send, and Gats gets knocked. Great rotation, great push by Yoho, and they steal the warehouse away. MRA, you have to imagine, them being quite greedy, staying this split into phase 5 with this position being so prominent. Now back onto the Falcons. Approaching pest control. They're setting a trap, they're lying a trap, and Shrimps are gonna check the corner. The shots come out, and then here comes Blissey and Joshy in tandem getting knocks of their own.
Yeah.
You're so annoyed of your Falcons, but it's so good from pest control. They lived up to their name, they laid the trap. Now Kickstart has just sent it in with a BRDM and got that knock onto Joshy, and he jumps out and does some damage. Battlex will hope to get a knock, but just as he thought about it, Kickstart's going to run over his teammate, flattens him like a pancake, as the Falcons may be
H1 has gone down, so Kickstart going to be the last one up.
Continue to drive around and be a nuisance. He jumps out once more. The tire providing cover. He knows exactly where he is.
Battlex was ready.
Battlex wins it. Falcons are eliminated, and the placement point window has now been opened. Jumping back over, potentially dangerous. Still in the battle with Yin Yang as Kane is jumping on up, and he gets himself a double as Tony and Glock are going to fall, and here comes Trisk.
Whoa, another run over. But it's going to be a teammate that gets knocked with this one. Doesn't matter. Why? Because with a great headshot to drop Gabriel. And this is all because the Overwatch of MRIA has been distracted by Rock and Yahoo. Yahoo with 10 kills of their own, but Yappa is going to try and match that.
Nice.
Nice.
Full annihilation. Potentially dangerous. Go out. What a solid push by Yin Yang.
7 teams left alive now. Snakers from Mission Ready International Alliance will get that knock onto Rock as they try to push this compound. Yahoo are in this position as well, as we've got 3 teams sharing the warehouses as things stand. MRIA, Mission Ready International Alliance, have lost a couple of players, but they're going to hope that Yahoo and Rock will keep each other company. But I'm looking elsewhere here, Cammy. That circle shift right now forces Pest Control, Furia, Bestia, all towards each other. But Furia are going to go for a 2-2 split as Kraken and Posta go the other way.
Knock on Yin Yang. Tried to approach MRIA. Snakers made sure to put them down. Snakers has been popping heads this entire game, but Boonage now with the car 98. Looking at Santastico's angle. It's going to be a frag to force them away.
Right, trying to force them away.
Still just popping off 3 kills. So far, only 3 for the team. But like I said, this position is not one.
Does see DraftKings toesies. Quan steals it away though.
Yeah, get the 10 placement points if you can. If you get that win, or even second place, what garners you the 6. But just be smart. Michael playing a wrap position that he spent a lot of time doing when he was playing with Team Empire here in the Americas, where he usually did it inside the blue, but this time he's square slap bang in the center of the circle. Jaffa trying to hold back Fury as they move on up, and there's a knock on the Vox, and that's going to force the hand of Michael or Snakers. Do you go to get that res? I don't think so. It's impossible. He's up inside that shack, and there's no real way to do it safe. I say impossible. Snakers says, watch me cook.
Well, he's got to get a knock at least one to make the cross easier. Until he goes flying out. Bestia goes flying out of the lobby. Snakers with a great knock. There it is. Gonna try and get a second under Cherry, but suddenly Pest Control arrives. Mission Ready International Alliance get eliminated, and Yoho have an opportunity for the revive and to keep this fantastic game rolling for them.
4 teams up.
Well, We were talking about potential second.
Yin Yang,
first or
Yahoo,
second places for
Furia,
them in that game,
Pest
but
Control.
Every other team had something different in their mindset. As Furia, who have 4 kills of their own, look to add some more. Joshy falling at the hand of that nade that Gizera just tossed off, and Kraken, he's further south. He's keeping Yin Yang on their toes, but Posa will wrap a little further north. I think Yahoo now are in one of the better positions at this point in time because everybody else is in a position where they should be fighting first. But as I watch that, as you look at your map, Yahoo are wrapping around to where Pest Control just moved in.
Kraken cleans up Joshy.
Nice.
Now grenades onto Blissey.
Blissy's not going to go down easy, though.
Sun comes up. Support from BattleX. Blissey might be looking to peek out from that, but really, Yahoo, they're just going to back away. They're going to wait for the next zone. There's going to be a bit of a medium shift to the southwest. So they still need to fight through Pest Control's position, but I think, is that BattleX trying to rotate around on the minimap? Hard to tell, and again, with all the angles being open like this, especially on the rock face, Pest Control don't have that much comfortable space to move around with.
I think you're right, and I think they're choosing to maybe bring the fighters. Yeah, here's something else was happening. The zipline gun. What is Shinboy going to cook with this as he looks to put something down to move his team? I thought he was aiming it there, the shield for a second. Like, where do you think you're going exactly?
He discovered some tech. He discovered some tech. Let him cook.
Yeah.
Let him cook.
Either way, you've still got a couple of things on a knife edge, right? Kraken's further south. He's still holding Jaffa. Jaffa, then the rest of his team out and open, and that's going to be Trisk, one of them, who catches Punage. So Yin Yang leaving one player on Overwatch to the south, or I say Overwatch, kind of on Underwatch, really, when you consider he's looking at the lower section of the map. And that opens up Trisk to take control. He gets the knock. And I think the biggest favor for him is the fact that the blue zone is closing. So even though you get the knock, you've now really knocked Yahoo out when it comes to the timing.
Yeah. Timing's a big thing in PUBG. They still got the revive. Still able to play us 4.
I thought he was going to say more after he said timing is a big thing in PUBG. It seemed like there was going to be like more to be said after that.
Things hiding in the rocks below them. But if Furia gets a knock here, that could be the opening for Yahoo to play off of. But until now, they're just going to have to play behind smokes.
Oh, Yahoo.
Picked up by Blissey off of Snaker's body.
In such a difficult spot to move in. Like, they have an edge, but
this game,
as soon as we hit the next zone, it's just probably not going to work out.
Are hoping that the key to victory lies on the western front. Yahoo, they're looking to drive directly towards Pest Control. Blissey spotted out, but no damage dealt. His molly will drop right on top of the head of Shinboy. He steps on up with M249, and he deals a ton of damage. But ammo is now at
That's an MG3, not an M249.
Bullets left inside, and that's going to be BattleX picking up the 10th kill for Pest Control. 2 for him. And then there was one.
They're in 9th place right now, so it's not bad. So Yahoo, Yin Yang, Furia doing better because they're above 8th place. Really, you want to be in the top 8, obviously. That's a pretty normal thing for PUBG games.
If they get too aggressive here, they could be in a ton of trouble.
Pest Control get eliminated. Trisk is able to clear them out. And that means the bottom floor of this tower is open. Punage catches at the kill feed, which at this level of esports, PUBG competition, you have to imagine.
I don't think that it matters that the bottom is open. It might allow him to jump out on one side, but like he still has to run into the next zone. He doesn't have any like.
Minimum second place, pops out, gets the zipline gun ready. Is hoping to go on the roof. Is that what that play is for? Oh please, show me what you have.
It's either he's going for the roof or he's going Hail Mary to the other side of the circle. Either way, Punage is going to cook. Trisk with the M4 still closing that gap as Jap is not too far away as well. Fury are kind of the odd ones out for this last few minutes. All the action has been going and they've been keeping in trouble. But just as I say it, Posa needs to
be careful, Japa.
Almost took Kraken out. And there's a good follow-up nade. It's going to bounce, but it doesn't.
Oh!
Is it good? It's almost good. 45 damage.
Just barely hanging on. And Punage now drop the smoke wall, I think potentially as bait.
That one finally does go down.
It does eventually go down to another grenade by Kraken, so Ying Yang are fighting 2 fights. Punij just being a complete thorn in their side. They wish they could use their terrain position to take over the game, but as long as Punij is alive, they cannot put their full focus onto Furia. And now out in the open, Trisk, down to half HP, has to hide back behind cover. Furia continuing to push in.
Trisk is on a collision course with Shinboy, sorry, Punij again for Yahoo up on top of the hill as Smirzera will confirm out that kill. So the number advantage no longer lying with Ying Yang. Trisk takes a little bit more damage off the back of that nade, but Punij could play Kingmaker here. He could be the person who decides who wins this game. He's got lines of sight potentially opening up pretty soon, but Trisk is the one that's trying to step up. He spots them through the smoke, and Trisk gets the kill, drops down to 10. But Cammy, the important thing is Ying Yang keep the 3 players up, and they get the knock onto Kraken. This should be their game to lose.
Not just that, look at Trisk's new position now that Punij is taken care of. Has a great crossfire angle to set up with the rest of the team.
Spotted out. Smirzera as well.
I think he's trying to call it an ammunition count, but it flipped away to a different player before. Good block that one in. But we appreciate the attempt just as much as we're going to appreciate the attempt from Smirzera.
He's going to have to send it forward.
Pushes them out in the open. Smoke in the way. And that high ground angle by Trisk hasn't really been as dominant. In fact, even goes down now. Up to a 2 versus 2.
Yeah, now Smirzera gets as you said, has that knock and gives himself an opening. But ammo, 49 rounds of 5.56 left. Kane, he's got bullets for days as he moves a little closer to Posa. Posa has the MG though, and that thing will eat through ammo, but I'm not quite sure how many rounds he has inside reserve, because trying to get the high ground. Smirzera inside the smoke. He's got a molly ready. Posa spots out one. Will feed that information over. On to Kane. He's got 56 bullets left.
Yakuz!
And Yakuz wins it as Ying Yang take the 12 kill win.
Oh, huge finish there. It could have gone either way, but Ying Yang come out on top, facing off against one of the best teams from Latin America. Ying Yang get the chicken dinner.
Because that's insane.
All of them having an impact as well, like 12 kills, and the lowest amount on the team was 2. That is a big game for them, and they've had a quiet enough day, so for them to get a big win in the second last game of the day puts them in a really good spot going into our final Erangel. But I think it's time to have a quick look at the highlight package that was put together during that game.
The fact that they put these highlight packages together so quickly is very impressive. This one, again, where El Qadzia just, like, didn't seem aware of what was happening at all. It was so wacky. Throws me off.
is a game 5 done and dusted. And at the start of the game, by the way, welcome back. I'm Toffees. This is Cameron. That's Gibson. We said Orangle be boring. Everyone knows what to expect. Stalber may be an exception to that, Cameron, because it seemed like a lot of teams still were up in the air on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone said boring. Well, some of us did. I certainly didn't. I think Erangel has a lot of really exciting moments. It's just Sosnovka, especially, that I hate. But hey, we didn't go there this time, so good for these teams, and especially good for Yin Yang to come out with the win, because that was a very, very close finish. It was down to a 1 versus 2 that they were able to claw that one out, and they get awarded with a nice 22-point stack onto their leaderboard.
All right, there's a poll in chat. Do you choose the MG3 versus the P90? Which one do you take, Gibson?
Ooh. I'm a P90 fan. I still think it's the best gun in the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. What do you think, Cameron? Same?
It is the best gun in the game.
You love
one
accuracy
thing
of your
why the
volume,
MG3 would be considered is the fact that you can find the ammo out in the field.
Ooh, and it is very strong against a BRDM, which hasn't really had that much play, but is worth noting. All right, here's our overall standings for the group stages so far. Potentially dangerous. Manages to maintain that first place position with 52. And Yin Yang is now... No, that's for the match. No, that's overall.
This is overall.
Now in second place. This is the roster for Yin Yang, as I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably unfamiliar with them. And why they added an extra G to the first word in their name. But their team
like
is
the twins.
Kane.
Yeah.
The Yin Yang twins. Fair enough. All right, so Kane, Yappa, Yakuz, and Trisk. Now, some of these guys we have heard of before, but even the ones that we have, Gibson, have been relatively low-impact players. Sorry, guys, if you're listening. Low-impact players on rosters that they're part of, or rosters that haven't really made a name for themselves.
Sorry, guys.
Starting this strong is
We're talking bad about you, but sorry.
Yeah, but I've always been a fan of Yakuz, though. Like, I think that there's always been an X factor in that player. But I think you're kind of right.
I feel like Kane's been good.
I think is elevating the ability of all the players to a level that looks so much better than what we've seen in the past. And you were talking, I think you were having a conversation at some point, like talking about Cowboy.
Just over and over and over again, I feel like we've seen
Yin Yang could just be 4 players
Kane
that
and
work really
Yakuz.
well and gel really well together, and they played that, like the confidence in those 2-2 splits. They had full like confidence in the ability of each of their teammates to win the fights that they had to.
I mean, if that's the world where they picked that name because they know that they are a strong 2-2 team and that's how they're going to sort of play it, then that's even cooler. But it does seem like they are depending on those splits. Now, it's five games into the day, Cameron, so I'm not going to chalk this up as a yin-yang victory at PAS just yet, but it's been interesting and fun to watch. Are there any other rosters, considering the changes and the new players that are in the fields, that you have enjoyed or been impressed by?
I mean, potentially dangerous, actually, because like I said, they got what was that 2 wins, or I think they might have just been
two chickens. Two chickens.
Yeah, they actually did it. Yeah. Falcons weren't able to get that done on Rondo, so yeah, they got the 2 double chicken dinner, and I knew potentially dangerous was going to be a threat, right? But the fact that they were actually in first place, we have potentially dangerous, and then Yin Yang in the top 2 up against teams like Furia, as well as Falcons, as well as Rock Esports. It's only group stage, right? As you said, it's not just 5 matches, it's also 5 matches in group stage. The real question is what they're going to do during the grand final. We see this happen routinely where a team that is less
Damn, Balefrost
to come out and like win group stage, but
so
the grand final
laying.
the expected results tend to happen.
Also, a little
exciting.
looking a little
Top
red
hill
there,
list,
Balefrost.
Balefrost, no picture, all lead, as he comes in at 15 kills, leading with Yahoo. That last game definitely helped with that count. Yappa off of the back one as well is going to get 11. Shrimsy, who started the day after game 1, Gibson, by saying, I have a lower kill ratio than the emergency cover, is actually now in 3rd place, which is exciting for him. Roth and TNY right behind. But a lot
That's
of teams
really
up here
funny.
had names I didn't expect to be in the top 5, Gibson.
Well, I just think in general, like Roth is a player that I admire a lot, but you just don't expect to see him in the top 5 for kills. Like, not usually his job. Like, you'd think maybe you'd see Cowboy or D in there, but he's been having himself a great day. Like, he's had some big
Let's
moments.
go,
like, that
Roth.
game on Rondo was
Let's
excellent,
go,
but,
Roth.
Like,
We are a
isn't
Roth
Bale
fan
one
here.
of those big what could have beens in the Americas when you think about the level of talent Bale has always had, but he's always, hopped between rosters. Like, I still think that Bale is an unbelievable player, and the numbers count. 15 kills through 5 maps, insane.
So may I step out of my host role for a second to just talk about Bale, because I
course.
think this is a. I think Bale is an excellent player, and I think he is a little bit of a tragedy of PUBG's evolution in the sense of he came of age at a very tough time in that transition period of PUBG, where it was sort of like we had that 18 cutoff. He was an up-and-coming player. He got pushed onto some survival rosters. He got taken out to a couple of LANs, but at that point, it was always sort of as like a last man up, a barely I mean, it was like this high-pressure situations on teams that were hopeful. But the pressure was so insane. He's never been to a LAN if I can remember correctly, that hasn't come with just an insane amount of pressure, right? Like he needs an experience where he gets to be on a rock roster at their first PGS, where no one had any issues, just being like, go out and learn and play and not have to deal with that intensity. If you go back through his roster lineups, for every LAN, high intensity, high intensity, high intensity, high intensity. On top of that, with the aging, my heart kind of feels for Bale, because I feel like he has deserved to be much bigger than he is.
Yep.
But time and circumstance has been challenging for him. And so I do hope that this is a roster that kicks up and starts to work really well, because I love watching him play.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, imagine him being on a roster, though, like what Falcons have, where you're not expected to be the guy because you have other incredible players like a Shrimzy or Kick. Like, I'm not saying he should go to Falcons, but I'm just saying on a team where he's not the player who everybody's looking at to be the difference maker. Like, I think that would, like, you would really see him shine even more in those.
I mean, you're not even, if we think about what they just said,
Last game,
you're not even thinking about Tigleton as being the difference maker anymore either, because Kickstart or Shrimzy could be the difference maker. And even though H-Win is the IGL, sometimes he makes a difference, and people aren't like super surprised or anything by it. They're like, yeah, he can do that. Don't mess with him.
Just you wait, because you said that. We ask that question all the time.
Yeah.
Always do.
Oh my God. I'm leaving. Have fun, guys. This is insane.
You know what? I was very tempted to troll draw a circle while you were saying that down there, and then we got it. Well, you know what? Last game of the night, game 6. Why not? Why not?
Woojoo too.
Yep. Okay. Well, the one thing you can say is that teams at this point should be experienced with this. Whether there is an easy way to win a game like this, I still haven't figured it out. And this is one of the most egregious versions of it as well, right? The one thing, let's start with the good, right? It's at the end of the playing path. So the teams that drop early have the furthest to rotate. So that kind of balances out the rotation timings somewhat. It's not going to be perfect, but it balances out a little bit. The bigger problem, though, is this specific edge of Sosnovka. Look how much water there is. Look, and then the little bit of land that's on the main island that we know it's not going to go back to. This is like 30%, if that much, playable land.
Yep. And you think about positions, right? Like that Dog Hill position on Millie Island on a circle like this could make or break teams. And then you think about rotates, like, yes, we know that you can pick up now, and it makes it a lot easier to get to the islands. But where do you go? Like, land crossings are going to be
I mean, there's going to be no space in this anyways.
Just 3 minutes. So are Yahoo. Like, all these teams are desperately trying to get ahead of the competition, to get ahead of everybody else. And
I don't know if
mine wacky racist situation we have right now, are we going to have a drive-by with like Cherry can shoot from the driver's seat if he really wants.
Yeah, it's got a P92 in hand. Come on, show us the Hitman vibes. No, they're just going to make their way across. They realize that they have such great timing on finding a position on Sosnovka Island that they do not want to get involved in a scuffle on the bridge. That is for the teams that are coming in from Stalber, the teams coming in from Georgia Pole. They, by luck alone, they have an early position into the zone across the bridge, and they're going to use that to their advantage and try and set themselves up for a more appropriate mid to late game plan.
Yeah, Mira are e-pickuping in the way into the circle. Nice and nice. Actually, it's not Mira, it's Mission Ready International Alliance that are...
Mission
take
Ready
that e-pickup. Another one's
International
being covered by
Alliance.
Collector as well, as all these teams are moving there. Now, those two planes, those two flight paths, sorry, on the Chinooks are intersecting perfectly on where that dog hill or that dog compound, doghouse I'm talking about is just here. It is such a good spot to hold Cammy. Don't be surprised to see teams playing around Ferry for a while, waiting to see how things play out, and you'll always have one team hanging around Ferry Pier up until the very last point to work their way in. But as well, nothing. Look, a rotate for Deportivo Merlo, so that's another rotate option taken away from another team who might want to make their way in a little bit later.
Multiple e-pickups coming into play. And can you really blame them? Problem is making sure that you don't get one stolen from you. There is a limit to how many can be in the air at the same time.
Isn't it 3? I think at the one time.
I think so. I think we've already hit that.
I don't want to say that as a fact because I don't, it's I think it is. Like, if I'm wrong, be sure to let us know. But I think that, could you imagine the circle back in the day without the e-pickup? Like, it would actually just be bedlam.
Can I imagine? Are you kidding?
Yeah, well,
We've been casting PUBG for so many years.
Yeah, it's been a while though. Like, I love the pickup. Here's another rotate. Does Furia make their way across the relatively short gap from Sharkfin up towards the beach, and they'll sprint their way into probably that compound.
They are a potato.
No? They've seen something else.
Potato.
Toffee says they're going to go this way. Angie's right.
Well, he was wrong. They're going to go the other way. Turning left and banking in. Okay, so it's the left bridge that's going to be seeing a lot of the action. Awuju 2, next team that's going to be dropping in with an e-pickup. They've actually floated around and stolen that doghouse hill that you were pointing out earlier on. Really good
There's a
crack
red
for them
dot
to
on
come
it too.
in so early.
Red zoned as well.
Yeah, we haven't yet seen anyone get knocked by the red zone yet. Again, just literally just play like the red zone doesn't exist.
You say that, but we've seen people get knocked to it.
That's impressive.
Oh, Shrimsy, that's impressive as well. He gets one, but Sam Crow is going to flatten him. H-Win cannot play Doctor quick enough, but he can try to get some revenge. But DNL's in a position to find that. Falcons down to just Tig and Kick now. There's no way rotate on by the coastline. DNL's looking to maybe get a player picked up and confirm out a kill of his own. But DNL, you're taking a very dangerous risk. You're playing a dangerous game. And here come the rest of the Falcons looking to confirm that one out. Nade in the hand of Kick. I think that nade should be good. And it is good. He gets the knock and the flush. That's it's a big fight between these teams early on, and no way. Just Vinny left alive.
Yeah, especially now with Tickleton getting the knock and full confirm on a couple of lone players. Vinny trying to drive away, and Tickleton is not going to let that happen.
Revenge.
Onto no way. They can get the revive on H-Win. Lost Trimsy. I don't know if if a blue zone revive is in play at the moment. S control bridge camping a rotate from Stalberg. What takes Icy Flex out? This is not look good for the Gooners. Though, Matting Bunt, they get knocked to their own. Set this up into a... This is a 1 versus 2 or a 2 versus 2? I honestly can't track. I think it's a 2 versus 2.
Yeah, it's getting there. It's kind of funny too, because it wasn't too far away from this exact spot that the Gunners basically ruined Liquid's chances of qualifying for PGS earlier on this year. It just happened slightly north of here by Cube Compound. But if anybody is going to get camped way up to the north, it's either going to be the Gunners doing the camping, or they're going to be the ones that are going to get camped. And Pest Control, they pick up another couple of kills. They're having a sneaky good day, by the way.
Sneaky good. 8th place.
Right now, but again, in a lobby like this for a team that is...
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is sneaky good. I feel like you're trying to aim for the top 4 right now, though.
But they are still, I would say, punching, a bit above their weight at the very least. Still overshadowed by
like,
in 3rd and potentially dangerous.
Right? You're aiming for the top 4 because then there's going to be people playing tomorrow without you.
in for them. As well. They
So
maintain
if you're in the
position and
top
have in grand
4,
finals.
you're in a relatively good spot no matter what happens.
Reminder for what's at stake for
tomorrow.
everyone, by the way, if your favorite team is
and
on the wrong
then-
side of the leaderboard or you don't see them, well, if you don't see them, they're playing tomorrow. If they're the wrong side of the leaderboard, do not worry, because even if you don't make top 8, you go to the LCQs, and I've heard people say in the past there is a merit, there is, you know, a belief that being in LCQs is not the worst thing, because it does mean you get another week of competitive maps under your belt while the teams in the finals, all they get is scrims and to sit back and watch. But yeah, you've got 16 teams today. Anybody
Makes
who's
sense.
wondering, we will see some of the other big names playing tomorrow, like Liquid will be in play, and another few of the top teams from South America will be joining as well. But I think that if you're watching today, I don't know if you're enjoying this or not. Like, if you're playing in Group C, you want, like, Falcons and Alcodsia to be running away with it. You don't
Nobody's
want
really
those
running
teams
away
being
with
in a
it, though.
situation where they're nowhere near being in the clear going into your
Right.
lobby day.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what's
And
happening.
leaderboard games are very, very interesting when it comes to the 3-group.
Is
format
that they're
we
nowhere
have.
near.
Circle, fortunately, hard shifts away from all the water. So at the very least, the silver lining is that we get rid of the BS early.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be just like a straight up fight for it.
Is available. But teams like Mira, they still got to find a way to cross. Are they waiting for the ferry?
I feel like they are.
Camp. Just looking at their positioning, I have to guess that it's going to be a trap. Yes, obviously, they eventually need to go that way.
Yeah. he's not wrong, though. He has a point.
Dude, best analyst in the game.
It's just really unfortunate because of how quickly they swap around on things for him. He can't analyze like he wants to, or get them to talk about the things that he's seeing.
Have we considered the fact that they saw all the action and they're camping the blue chip system that's by Ferry Pier? Because some teams might think that's the one to go to.
It's possible. T2 Vermello, though, they're going to be happy with that, grabbing a quick little kill.
I feel like that one's a stretch.
Dangerous, losing one on the rotate. Not quite sure where they were coming from or where they're going, but now they have eyes on DM. And the opportunity now to sort of lock them in, keep them from pushing in from the west. With the hard shift over towards the east, this does give potentially Dangerous a fair bit of freedom. Not too much, but at least a little bit of freedom to play around without the threat of getting shot in the back, stabbed in the back, or any sort of late arriving teams coming into their
No,
position
stab you in the backy.
This area of the map is at the moment.
Deportivo Merlo, they're still in this shack that they're throwing out the smoke wall. So is it the body they're looking to pick up? Is it some loot that they're looking to gather at this point? But for them, they've got a good position.
I think it's the body that they're looking to pick up.
Kit in the back pocket of Gabri, so if that vest gets destroyed, he will be able to bring it back.
Hopefully there was at least 2 smokes on it, since they used 2 smokes.
Vexen a little bit closer to scout out the bridge. Falcons have half of a bridge camp being held right now, with Kick kind of playing that position, but H1 and Tiggleton, they're playing on the hills a little bit further away. And Pest Control have gone all the way over to the eastern bridge, and it's completely free at this point in time. Nobody is watching for anyone rotating that way.
Oh god, the Snaker's just letting out some random shots to try and bait other people to look. Could just be out of boredom and frustration.
Yeah, he just wants more.
Gotta move the mouse every once in a while, I guess. Keep that trigger finger warm.
Yeah, I gotta make sure it doesn't suddenly freeze on up. Keep it limber.
I think, though, Mira are going to get their way into the circle. I think that we might have that bridge camp, so don't know if we will get an eye on it, but they're about to line up on the other side of the bridge. Gabriel got a knock on the Lear, by the way, and he's going to spray over. He gets another headshot with the MP5, and if that wasn't the MP5K, if that was an AR, he probably gets that knock. But still, the MP5, deadly from this sort of range. Trying to confirm out the kill onto Ali. A little bit more damage dealt over to Andrew, and his secondary right now is the MK with the red dot sight on it.
More shots come in, more grenades.
That's a second knock.
And they're really punishing Deportivo Merlo for having the audacity to kill one of their members earlier on. These are essentially 3 points, not 3 because of any judgment call on a DM, but just because of the position and the opportunity it gives them now. We're going to hop on over to Falcons against Mira.
They find at least one.
Shrimsy's not going to get revived. At least so far, they're still going to play us 3. The Falcons are, but look at their position. They're doing some great work on Mira. Mira, it's a good start to the day. But being able to make it work, especially now we're on Erangel. Down to Glock. I don't know what happened to cause it to this. Now it's a 1 versus 2. Suddenly the tables have turned.
Death, taxes, and those and Falcons and Mira running into each other at this point in time. Glock, though, he's got a bit of work to do. Potentially dangerous. Top spot in the lobby as things stand, but Falcons, you'd assume, will overtake them unless Glock can do something big here. Wraps his way around the side. The stun grenade will hold them in position for at least now. The 2 members of Deportivo Merlo are playing the trade game, but a stun grenade of Glock's own will be thrown as a retort, and he'll peek around the side once more. But Deportivo Merlo, they will leave Danny to hold his position. And all this is being enabled by the fact that nobody is up on top of Dog compound. So it gives the option. Now Glock pushing up once more. Danny will get the spray off and Glock falls. Deportivo Merlo wipe out PD. And well, Falcons
I don't.
now, they can
Why did
potentially
potentially dangerous crash onto that?
They might have
Like,
lost some players to the Falcons, but that still is gonna be the siren when they hear shots in the distance. They're gonna be rushing that one down, waiting for the right time.
oh,
Good damage, can't get the knock. I don't know if the blue is gonna be doing enough damage to seal that one away at the moment. But it is going to make this follow-up fight a bit of a struggle. This could be the only 2 points that Mira have a real opportunity of getting.
that was so
Up into the vehicle,
close.
nice headshots. Instantly taking Danny down.
Finding more
Another,
damage.
but Deportivo Merlo will lose one. Phase 3 blue now, as Mira will need to get on the move, getting ready for that Phase 4 shift, which, well, it's the one that gets rid of water, it's the one that gets rid of unplayable terrain, and, well, it's all playable in a circle like this, as Deportivo Merlo make their way around. Now, even will confirm that extra kill for Mira as they look to continue moving up. It'll just be 2 for them from this point on, but
Every point
Tommy,
counts.
is there a worst case scenario circle here?
South. Hey, it stays center on up, but still, that's a big empty field down towards the south. 4 Earth and the rest of Collector should be able to move down that way, but there's a reason everyone's on the north, because of how empty the south of that road is. This could just be a continued fight through the military base itself into your host position.
Yeah, you might have a team send it to the open compound. I mean, for all you know, it might, for some reason, it goes south, but there is a dip that they can try and play from.
A rough spot to be in. Here come the Falcons, though. Mission ready. International Alliance will get that knock on the TIG. Falcons getting torn asunder here as they move their way on in. Leaves Kick as the last player standing. He's a little too far away. But that's 2 more kills for Mission Ready International Alliance's Furia get involved in the action now as well.
Hey, don't count Falcons out yet. Shrimsy has been brought back, is currently parachuting in, as Mira is now slamming in to the last member of Deportivo Merlo. They have chased them down. It's going to be a hoe that finds that final kill. As DM get eliminated. Mira still staying alive. Finding some position there on south of the road, but again, everyone's going to be playing on the north, at least in the moment. So many teams that had cover in the compounds kind of have no other option but to just play through it, play into these fights. And Furia with a couple of teams surrounding them, Yin Yang Twins to the north, MRIA to the south, and Pest Control comes swinging on by Rock Esports.
All right.
RBN,
I think they're going to come back too, right?
He's going to go down swinging as he drops behind the vehicle. That nade does a little bit of
Blissey
damage.
goes down.
Find the knock onto Blissey.
I want to go
2
back
players
through
up
at
for
some
Pest
point and
Control.
look at
RBN
Blissey's
will hop
stats,
in the
because
fact
I
that
feel
he
like
must use the smoke for cover
he just
and manages to get the first
unfortunately
hit off.
has
But
not been
just as he got the first hit
as
off, he
impressive
stood right on top of
as
Battle
I would
Axe's
want
lead.
out of
He gets
him,
those kills
or like
confirmed.
just out of
2
what
more
like I
points
would
for Pest
expect
Control
him
as
to
they
be
move
able
up
to do,
33,
you know?
and Furia jumping back to that gunfight as they look to hold the Yin Yang Twins, as you keep saying, out from outside the circle.
Listen, I'm aging myself.
Well, do you
with
think that
that.
maybe Could they shake Fury out of this lobby like a salt shaker?
Listen, they're trying to not be as quiet as a whistle. That doesn't really work. Never mind. Is it a whistle song or the whisper song?
Yeah, the whisper song.
I might be confusing my old head.
You could be like, hey, little viewer, let me whisper in your ear.
Yeah, exactly. Or hey, Furia. We sent some bullets in your ear. Well, Jap is actually taking a lot of bullets. It's gonna be a headshot to finish it. Still, a couple members of Yin Gang have crossed.
Shots coming in from Snakers on the other side. Gets that knock on to Kraken, and that's the door opened for Yin Yang. But just as it was opened, Al-Qudsi's Cowboy will look to shut it down. Posa inside the blue. Well, takes a little bit of damage now with that Breezy nade, but manages to just about avoid it. Fall, and there's the Molly. It's a little too late. Down Furia fall, but they will be followed right out the back door as they will see Yin Yang go down as well. Al-Qudsi up to 2 kills. They're right on the edge here. And Kami, while all that was going on, we got the worst possible circle. Look at all
Pest
the
Control's
open
gonna love
in
it.
the middle.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Yeah. Pest Control should be looking good. Feeling good though.
Well,
That in old school PUBG, that compound there towards the south, and we got a couple of circles that way because this was before water shifts were a thing, before water ratio. If you got that compound and the circle ended there, you won the game. I don't know if that's going to be the case here, but it's just such an iconic compound that we don't see in play this late so often.
a lot of the time planes are used a lot more.
Unplayable zone towards the end of the game. I'd go out and say everything between the two roads is unplayable in this zone. Like,
yeah, it feels like it, yeah.
Unless you're Collector or Mira, there's virtually nowhere you can go.
Yeah, Bessie is pulling up into like the last spot.
As a last ditch effort, or even just staying right on the edge as long as possible.
That's
hanging in the military.
technically a spot, I feel like.
That could be good news, because teams could come and provide you points. Like, I'm looking at you, Wuju2. I'm looking at Mission Ready International Alliance and Al-Qudsi. These are all points that be coming your way, and right on cue, they're getting delivered.
Suddenly a C4 play from Michael shuts Yahoo down. I was about to mention how Yahoo were starting to heat up this round, looking to follow through a great previous performance, but now Shinboy has to step up to the plate. Punaj on the opposite side. Shinboy's able to at least get one knock. Takes the fight, gets the second. How much how much deathmatch has he played? How familiar with this plane graveyard is Shinboy?
All we need is Shinboy and Poon, but just as I say it, Poonage is going to fall, and down it goes. Oh, down they go. Down they fall. 8th place, 7 teams left alive, and D was able to pick up a couple of kills as well. Mission Ready International Alliance will be the next to fall, as we're left with 6 teams alive, and Seifu is the last one up for Wuju2 as well. Now, this player is incredible. I have so many good things to say about Seifu and his ability on the M&K, but I don't know if he's going to be able to pull off anything big here against Al-Qudsi, because in a few seconds, they'll be back to a 4 strong.
I don't know if you can res. The blue is right there in his phase 5. I know you have the jammer pack, but I don't know if your teammate does. Okay, Roth crawls in. See, that's the big-brained IGL play that we need. But the shift does do a pretty hard shift up to the north. Mira's position is now the dead center of the zone, and the question still remains, like, can they hold on to it? Because there's nowhere else to play around them. And they're likely going to get crashed.
Yeah, Bestia. You can see that lynx in the hand of my... Oh, he knows. He sees Joshi. Hi, Joshi. It was an absolute pleasure. Oh, it goes a bit too far. It's not like Mime to overthrow nades in situations like that, but now Joshi will throw one of his own.
He just uses his gun.
Get it with a nade, but I can
He's
still
like,
slap
it doesn't matter if I miss or not.
Down falls Joshi.
An aid's not as important right now.
Drop for his team. But Bestia, not only did Bestia get the point, but they got the links in the back pocket as well. And Pest Control, have you seen the shift, Cammy? Have you seen where it's gone?
Yeah.
It's gone back up to the north.
They got the cross through open space. They have a vehicle, but only 2 members left. Blue coming in right on their back. Linked shots. That vehicle is going to go up in flames. Couldn't even make it across the road. Looking for cover. Cover's gone. Okay, back behind cover. But I need to get a pick up by Battle X.
Does Battle X even have a car though? Like, is this?
Yeah, there's a coupe in
this just
there, but
Yeah, Poor Earth gets the kill on the knock on the Blissey. That's going to be confirmed, and well, everything could have went Pest Control's way, but as the PUBG gods give it, they take it away as well. The zone goes north. Mira still holding the center of the circle with 2 players up. And here's the move in the coup. Mime leading the shots, and Battle X, that vehicle's gone too. Poor Earth gets the kill, so for all the good work of Bestia there, it was Collector that was able to guarantee to pick up those few kills.
How unfortunate.
Ballsy for Poor Earth to stand still like that after hearing a Lynx in play, but it's still able to get a knock. Mime goes down, covering fire, pushes 4 Earth away from the angle. 5 teams left. Most of them pretty healthy. It's just Wuju 2 that are down to a solo and Mira down to a duo.
Mira are center circle, and they've got that, don't even call it dip, like Collector. You'd imagine that the circle's not going to go to them. Like, in some way, shape, or form, Mira should be in the next zone, which will give them the opportunity to get more points, to get closer to top spot after day 1. Seifu is still alive for Wuju 2 as Al-Qudsiya. Now, if you really want to put the cat amongst the pigeons, you shift this hard to the north up towards Al-Qudsiya.
Yeah, do it.
Go. We see Bestia fanning out.
Ugh.
It's going to be a pretty hard shift to the southwest.
Mira as a 2-man, what can they do?
As Bestia, because of their spread and their crossfire, but it doesn't feel like a super strong position.
I think what Toffees is trying to say is Mira could be in trouble. There's 3 teams that all want, or at least need to push this direction. Now, if Collector get a knock north, or south, they might push on up, but there's a good knock from Flood. He will find for Earth, and that's going to put a real pin in all the plans that Collector might have had to make a move. The blue zone is going to start closing pretty soon. Haven from Mira will get a knock of his own, and LFP is confirming out that kill. This is going from bad to worse, and while all this is going on, Bestia are just moving the vehicles closer and closer, setting up that mobile fort that will give them so much cover in the late game. Cammy, I think that you're bang on. This Bestia are in such a good position to take advantage of all this.
Well, not able to confirm that kill just yet. A revive comes through from the Collector. There was a crate that just came down. And as much as we love the level 3 armor, I wonder if it being as a potential use of cover could be more impactful.
It's always a possibility.
Get the knock and the vehicles come swarming out, but they know that there's one left. Definitely will not be deterred from their prey. Grenades come onto Seifu.
Collector were playing for the kills. Collector were trying to take out Al-Qudsiya. They said, we're not going to win the game. They tried to make a big play over to the south side of Millie, and it didn't work out for them. But I love the idea. They were like, okay, we might not win, but we could get 4 or 5 more kills. But unfortunately for them, it didn't work out. Al-Qudsiya now, they're lambs to the slaughter as they will make their way up towards the edge of this road. And Mira, as soon as Al-Qudsiya are dealt with, you feel like Bestia are just going to stop playing with their food and get rid of Mira.
Here's the next one. Next, really team to either take another team out or fight.
Throw away the game while you still have it. And with 6 enemies on the field, it's not a sure thing for Bestia just yet. LFP with a good spray is able to put Roth down. And out in the blue. So far on the edge.
LP1 takes it. LP1 gets a second.
That is going to be
Cowboy gets one. Flood gets the other.
Third place with one final grenade. Actually, a tandem grenade. Cowboy and Flood at virtually the same time. Cowboy needs to get revived though. Let's look at Bestia. They're not pushing on in. They're taking the space, and they have the main advantage. They're going to try.
No first aids really for Al-Qudsiya. 2 on Cowboy.
Spray towards Vinny, caught out in the open. This could be a game-changing situation if they can find the knock.
Okay, that's a 3v3.
It's 3 versus 3. Rello will confirm that kill out as kill
Rello getting close to no ammo.
With a bang. Flood is just off in the distance as the smoke wall is about to dissipate just in front, but you feel like it's a killing line as they try to move from the rock to the containers. Bestia have all set each other up on each of the different sections of the map, so if they do this right, Al-Qudsiya still have a chance But look at it, they're holding all the cutoffs, Cammy. Mime is holding one route, and everybody else is holding another one. This is just really smart play from Bestia.
It is. But how many grenades y'all can see I have left? They're making an open
Two
not even through smokes.
down immediately. D does get one.
Knock. Sets himself up into a 1 versus 2, but the crossfire is still too strong. And a winner chicken dinner goes
That's it.
the way of Bestia. They struggled at the start, but they're showing us that they still have it.
And that was
Damn.
just really good play from them. They rotated south when they saw that circle. They took advantage of it. I think the Lynx didn't have as big an impact in that game as they might have, but it's a really good win for Bestia. It puts them in a good position going into tomorrow. And you know what? It wasn't a great day. What, 28
All right,
points
peace
before
out. Have a good
the next
night, everyone.
20 points?
Bye bye.